I'm prepared. I'm ready. I'm here. Welcome back to the Dynasty Grind. My name is Peter Howard. This is apparently a member of the DLF family of live streams, but we don't get our own section on the little drop-down menu over here. They took that away for, what's this one called? Oh, I see. Hanging with Daddy gets its own special category, but not the Dynasty Grind, huh, DLF? Huh. Yeah, they don't respect us, but it's okay. We respect ourselves. Listen, it's been awful and doesn't really say it week in the real world. And I'd just like to say thank you to all every week spending a little bit of time with us talking about the nonsense that is fantasy football. It truly makes me happy and extremely grateful. I was listening to the Dynasty Dummies. Good podcast. You should check it out. We should get one of those on on this show sometime. I don't know. But they said that the best thing that fantasy football does is the Scott Fish Bowl, and I disagree. I know you're all shocked I disagree with someone, but I don't think the Scott Fish Bowl is the best thing that fantasy football does. I think the best thing that fantasy football does is this. Not this show, although, yeah, sure, we're better than the Scott Fish Bowl, but it's connecting people. It's people from different states, from different places, from different walks of life who are just interested in this weird little thing that we all get to argue, fight, and debate and learn about each other through. The Scott Fish Bowl is a great synopsis of that. I'm in a bunch of league chats I wouldn't have been in without it, and I'm meeting people I never would have met without it. And I think that's a great part of it. But honestly, I think it's the whole what we used to refer to as community and now is increasingly being called to it as an industry. I think it's community first, and I think that's the best thing it does, and I think that's the best part of us. And the Scott Fish Bowl is just a symptom of when you get a bunch of people in a room, even if they're interested in something weird and weird like fantasy football, what they end up doing is thinking, how can we help each other? And I think that's great. But I think it's a connecting people thing. So I'm really grateful for you all to come share just a little bit of your Wednesday nights with us every week. Can't express that enough. And yeah, let's get to it. Let's talk about some nonsense for a little while, because the real world is awful. It's awful. So let's talk about some football for a while. Okay. Hey, Zach, how you doing?
I am all right. I would like to say
no,
absolutely with you on
the
community.
I don't bring you here to say things.
Absolutely with you on the community thing. I disagree. Mike from Hanging with Daddy definitely deserves his own spot over us. So we're split 50-50.
Just daddy's boy. That's your problem. That's your problem right there. Looking for an authority figure. It's kind of sad. But yeah, we've got how many? 9 questions and a good evening, did you say already in the chat?
Nine questions and a good evening before we're even lined up to go. I love it.
House is meant to join us, but he said he's going to be late, so we'll see how that works out.
I love the chat. The people that come to the show. It makes me so happy. You guys are awesome.
I agree. You see, I'm right. I'm always right. Just admit I'm right. Kid Coop asks, "Hey boys," he got it right. We're both boys. I appreciate that. I'm a young man. Follow up to last week. 12 team Superflex PPR startup. He's got the 8th pick in the startup and ended up with Murray, Watson, Lance in rounds 1 to 3. I think that's a really strong start in the Superflex. Yeah. DK, DJ Moore, and Godwin. That's a really strong wide receiver room considering you went 3 heavy QB at the start there. Elijah Moore, great. And 4th to 7th rounds, crushing it so far. That's great. I would say, I mean, it depends. Follow your draft, but rounds 11 to 14 on average in Dynasty, where you just basically hit running backs. We hit running backs at a higher rate, and also you should be rostering more running backs, and your squad's pretty thick here already. So, not that in rounds 8, I'm guessing you're in that you have to go running back, but there is a section there where you should. Attempted a productive struggle. I don't think that's a productive struggle. I think you're trying to win this year. I think you've got value, which is great, but you can try and win this year. Attempted a productive struggle, 0 running back for the first time. When would you suggest? I kind of answered that already. Yeah, after round 11, just draft a lot of running backs. I just listed a bunch on YouTube and the podcast as well that for this year are a little underrated in Dynasty, falling into that range. I could look it up, but I can't remember what. Like Melvin Gordon falls into that range. Khalil Herbert falls into that range. Even Rashad Penny. You're just taking a lot of kind of shots. But again, they're probably a little underrated for 2022 based on redraft ranks. So yeah, I'd aim for that crew. 12-team Superflex just traded for Aaron Jones for Hollywood and 1-4. You got Hollywood and the 1-4. I don't know about this trade. I'm kind of on the fence with it to start with. And yesterday moved Zeke for the 1-12. So I'm guessing you're building, in which case I like it. That's fine.
Well, but I mean, I don't mind getting Hollywood Brown. The 4-11 doesn't really track if it's a if it's a rookie pick, whatever. But Aaron Jones for Hollywood, if you're not playing for the points this year,
if you're not playing for points, yeah. Aaron Jones has got another year left in him of being surprisingly productive to those people who don't accept that he's productive. But if that's not of interest, then it certainly makes a lot of. Hollywood's got more value. It's going to be good again this year. Yeah.
I would want more than the 112 for Zeke. I don't know if you're going to get it right now, but I think probably closer to the season you'll have a better chance at it. But
I keep thinking I'm missing some news on Elliott or something. Do you know where he's being drafted in Dynasty right now?
It's wild.
It's like the running back 24, like the very last viable running back.
And the crazy thing about that is that he has already had the workout video where he's faster, leaner, he's healthy. Like, how are we missing this? It's because everybody wants Pollard to be a thing, and Pollard is good.
That's actually probably the best way to find. Sorry, carry on.
No, it's the best way to find value is find the guys that everyone wants to be good, and then draft the other guy in their backfield. I'm with you.
If Javonte Williams wasn't good, it would be the same maneuver because everyone was waiting for them to be the guy on day one, and you just keep drafting the other guy. Aaron Jones right now. Although I haven't said that, AJ Dillon isn't getting a bump in ADP either, and he's entering a pretty important year for himself as well.
And that's when Kid Coop was talking about being in the 8th round, like that's not a bet. Like AJ Dillon in the 8th round as your running back who potentially could end up with that backfield either this year or next year wouldn't be terrible. I mean, I don't love AJ Dillon, but I like his situation and I like him well enough with what he's done already to be a nice player.
Tell you what, Zach, I did something unspeakable. I made a TikTok. I did.
I saw a couple of them. I now follow Chef Adam Libby and you. So now I have two.
Well, after watching about 20 videos, I realized I probably can't make strong takes in 40 seconds, but I can at least advance a good process because there isn't any on there. And something I was going through is typical breakout years because I'm guessing anyone on TikTok's only ever heard of a breakout year and not the common aspect of it. But anyway, something I was just looking at for what's my next stupid 40-second video. They're really easy to upload. Like YouTube videos take me all night to upload because my hamster in the wheel gets tired. You got to restart it. But going into 2022 or going into season X, the most common type of running back breakout to happen in any given random season is a running back jumping into the top 12 in year 3. Or the top 24. It happens. That's the most common type of running back breakout that happens. Both AJ Dillon and Clyde Edwards-Helaire both being drafted. And that, I don't want AJ Dillon. I was expecting to get Aaron Jones cheaper because everyone would hype up Thies McGee. And they're not. So I get to stay on out. I'm interested in that. Even though I believe it's Aaron Jones, he's going into an interesting year. And as long as people are drafting him nowhere, I was really expecting the player profile crew or type crew to get out there and hype him. I mean, have you seen those thighs? Where are they? They should be out there talking about so much thigh, but he's running back 25 right now in Dynasty, and he's running back 25 in redraft as well. It's like no one notices his thighs. It's weird. So you can actually get them both, which is in. But anyway, sorry. Yeah. We're answering questions. I forgot. I was just talking to Zach. Alec, how you doing? J-Mo Williams and a 23-second for Olave and Keenan. Who wins? Whoever gets
Keenan. Olave and Keenan.
Whoever gets Keenan.
Yeah.
He might Andre Johnson this year, but I don't think so. In that there was no reason to expect him to suddenly be bad, but occasionally an all wide receiver will just suddenly be bad. And I really don't think that's Keenan Allen.
That's basically a 23 second for Keenan Allen. And if I am anywhere near competing, I will give that all day.
Mm-hmm. I've been asked twice today on the DLF forum, so they weren't specifically asking me, but I like to pretend. There's an Ask DLF forum, and I like to go in there and answer questions. And in my Discord, 2 people asking if they should trade for Keenan Allen for 2 first-round picks in 2024 and 2025. That's a really specific value, and it's too much. Like, I love Keenan Allen, but no one's offering them 2 first-round picks, even that far in advance. And so that's been my answer both times. Like, just no. It's not that he's not worth it. It's that they're not getting that from anyone else, so you can offer less. That would be my... But yeah, both times, people trying to sell on Keenan Allen, but sneakily for future first-round picks. Don't do that. Offer him a second at some point. Alec, ETN for Cooper. If that's Amari Cooper, I like the Amari Cooper side. Although, that's mainly because I'm nervous we haven't seen the workout video yet.
The value's still probably on the ETN side. So to answer your question, Alec, I think that is a fair offer. And I would feel out your trade partner with that offer and see, because again, I don't mind being on the Cooper side of that trade, getting Cooper, but I think ETN still has a little bit more cachet, a little bit more trade value. He's not the old man in this trade, and Dynasty is notorious, as an ageist. What did we decide we're an industry now? I'm community.
I don't know. I don't know. I said things.
I'm not making any money, so I'm not industry. I am community.
We are, like, I was thinking about it. Like, DLF has literally been bought by it's been commodified. It's been bought by someone. Increasingly, I think that means Dynasty is getting more viable as an industry. I don't think. I think of us as a community, but it is interesting. There's enough interest in our little corner of this little corner of the world of fantasy football that someone's investing in Dynasty. I think that's interesting, but that's neither here nor there. I think Amari Cooper is discount DJ Moore. There you go.
I like it.
The 2 up. Lockett and 2 seconds for Pittman. Lockett side. But I
don't like. I think that's pretty close. I'm probably taking the Pittman side because I don't think you can get anything for Lockett, and 2 seconds are fine, but whatever.
Yeah.
And I still think Pittman is pretty much a lock top 24 and potential to be in the top end of wide receiver 2s. So like he could be on that cusp of 12 to 16. As a wide receiver, which is nice.
I think he's definitely a locked up 36 wide receiver. He's NFL fantasy relevant and everything else. Like you said, though, I think we've seen his ceiling. Lockett has no value. This is basically 2 seconds for Pittman, which is why I take the Lockett side. Pittman has like a 50% chance of repeating his top 24 season last year. And the reason I say it that way is because that beats the pants out of a random first-round pick. Just to give it context, like first round picks, wide receiver selections, just a generic first round pick actually produced a top 24 season at like 39% of the time. Pittman's got a 50% shot next year of doing it. So just to put it in context. Now, if you adjust that to like the top 3 and so on and so forth, that's where we find a little bit of a value difference. But Pittman's fine. I just like Lockett. I think he's underrated. I think you're getting them free here. So I don't mind it. You'd be sending Pittman off again. I think we're saying it's basically equal. I think Pittman's safer. But those picks are also not going to go anywhere. So Pittman's safer for 2022. Put it that way. All right, we good? We're not going to fight about that? No, cool.
No, I'll be fine.
You always are. Nicholas J. already hit the like button. Oh, thank you, man. At 9:04. Sorry, we were not here at that time. Appreciate all the yours. Help. I'm assuming I like the show. I will try not to disappoint. In a Superflex startup draft, do you think you should be able to trade your rookie draft picks, the 2023 and 2024 class, during the startup draft? Not sure how my league is going to be set up, but yeah, I think. Yeah, Sure. The more things with more value, the more fun you can have. That's my personal. It's like the more ways to score points, the more fun you can have, as a general rule.
To me, it depends on how you're setting this up. So our rookie picks in the startup are, so like if we're doing a startup this year, are the rookies in the startup?
I would prefer to draft the rookie picks.
Yeah, and then you have a second draft. To answer your question with the other picks, like the future picks, absolutely, because that's how you maneuver in a draft class. Otherwise, you're trading round for round and not being able to maneuver as much. And anything that promotes trades in a dynasty league, I am for. I like that. I like activity. I like trading. I like, even if I'm not the one making trades, having people making moves brings in your interest, makes you think more about what's going on. It's better for the league.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I've never commissioned, so I've never had to make the decision. I would say, as someone playing, I like the idea of drafting the picks because, one, you get to, there's more edges to find there. People might disrespect how valuable the 101 is compared to the 104. They might overvalue how much the 108 is. And then you get to know about the 2023 class. And apparently, according to Zach, it doesn't matter all the way down to like the 203. So,
let's not get crazy on that, Peter.
No, that's what Zach said. The 203 is the 101 this year. In a Superflex. Weez, good evening. Oh, hey, thanks, Weez. Appreciate it. BJ Lee, good afternoon, boys. What's your best and worst trade you have ever made? I got to come up with better answers to this. I tell you what, I traded, one that always occurs to me is I traded Tyreek Hill after I had his first decent season because I rostered him almost everywhere because he was like a 4th round pick. And at that point, athletic profiles matter and the Chiefs were interesting. But I strongly didn't like his production metrics, although I have gotten better since. There wasn't any to really judge. But I sold him way cheap because I thought he was going to faceplant after that. I was in on, what was the guy's name? Denard
Robinson. Shoelace.
Denard Robinson, because he had like a 19 age breakout age at 20%. I was like, yeah, breakout age. But anyway, so I had both, and I traded Hill away after he became the guy that first year. They ran that competition. But I traded him away too low. I think I traded him away for like a 1st round pick, and like I was looking for anything. The best I could get was Philip Dorsett, who I never liked. And this was a year after he'd been face planting. But I just wanted out of Tyreek Hill. So that's probably one of my worst ones. I got the trade I could instead of holding the value I should have expected. That was a bad one. Yeah. So the best one was I traded Andre Johnson for like 2 1st round picks in when I first started. That was pretty good. That was the last year when he went to Indianapolis.
I'm going to attack this a little differently. So my best trade ever, I sent away Amari Cooper and Dalvin Cook. And I got back Ezekiel Elliott. So I sent Dalvin Cook and Amari Cooper and got Ezekiel Elliott. And that's the best trade I ever made, which sounds counterintuitive, but it was the year that Cook was injured. And it was the year that Amari Cooper was in, at the time it was Los Angeles, and kind of bouncing up and down and not having a great season. And Zeke secured me a championship. And so that is the best trade I ever made. The worst trade I ever made was I traded the 101 in 2017 because I had the 101, the 102, and the 103. And I assumed that the person I was trading with was going to take Corey Davis at 101 because Corey Davis was the consensus 101. So I traded the 2017 101 for a 2018 first. And that 2017 101 was Christian McCaffrey, who I didn't think anybody else was on. And the guy I traded that pick to was. And so I missed out on Christian McCaffrey because I got too cute. And I think that's the lesson of the story, BJ, is you don't know as much as you think you know.
Sticks with you, yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Guaranteed. Rob on Twitter here, I'll read it live. Is Christian Kirk just a guy, or does he have a real shot at being a wide receiver 2, top 24? I think that's the same definition to me. Yeah. What do you think of Christian Kirk in 2022?
Yeah, I mean, like, he could be a borderline top 24, but he could also be like worse than that. Like, I don't think he's going to be a top 12.
Yeah.
So he is. He's just like he's okay. He's fine. But there are about 20 guys who could be top 24 wide receivers. Like in that 12 through
no, 24. There are.
I mean, like, there are only going to be 12.
We're hesitant to rank less than that.
But there are about 20 that could be.
Let's see, where do I have him projected before I answer this guy? Christian Kirk. Wide receiver. 43. Yeah. Okay. I think you see him as a top 36 wide receiver. He can be flexible. He's going to fill you in by weeks. I wouldn't expect much more than that.
Yeah.
But he's on Twitter, so he's not listening to us. So we can like call him names and stuff. You want to know. But not really. BJ Lee. Nope. He already did this one. Sorry. I've got a little lag. Zach, 10 team, 1 QB, 5.5 PPR, traded the 105, the 107 for the 109 and 110. Terry McLaurin and Josh Palmer. I like that trade. I wanted Olave at 107 and got him at 109. And yeah, that's his draft. Yeah.
You don't know. That's a great trade for you, Zach.
No, I think that's the entire way to play this year. The guy you want at 104 might be available at 109. Don't get too into your feels about it. But also, if you're at the 104 and you can't trade back, just take your guy. Then I traded Terry McLaurin and Knox for Mark Andrews. I actually like that kind of 223 seconds and a third. Don't hurt to make it go down. I like that. Mark Andrews is going to provide more difference making points at his position than the other way around. Not that Terry McLaurin's bad. 1 second. Can you hold the entire...
Peter's gone. Does D. Williams signing in Arizona hurt Ingram holders? Again, it's you're looking at 0 RB guys, so it matters who ends up being healthy and on the roster there. I don't know that it necessarily helps things, but that's a back end. I mean, you're talking 0 RB.
Yeah, sorry, I'm needed to bring stuff in from the car. And I'm like, what Dynasty Outhouse isn't here, so I can't have it. Paul is on the edge of his seat. Joe Rock wants to know how it's going tonight. I mean, pretty well. I'm here talking Dynasty Fantasy Football with my friend and 50 of my other closest friends, so I like that. Gavin, 10 team, 1 QB, AJ Brown plus a 23 first plus a second for Gainwell or Jefferson and 2023 third. Oh, wow. I think AJ Brown's side.
I was going to say,
you want Jefferson. You know what I mean?
You just made me trade Justin Jefferson, and I love Justin Jefferson. It's the AJ Brown side.
But AJ Brown can do that, and you get it first. Like, ooh, that's tempting.
Yep.
That's a 50-50 on a Jefferson trade, and that's hard to do. So I don't hate that. In a 10-team, those difference-making points. Yeah, man. Jaleel Woods for a 23 second. I'm just not
second.
In. I like it.
He's take the
more
second.
Athletic profile. Probably take the second. Tyler Reed, thanks very much. Well said. I appreciate it. I don't know what we said well, but I appreciate it. Garrett Wilson or Elijah Moore? I want Elijah Moore, mainly because he's held at a low value, but also in a one-to-one trade. I've seen Elijah Moore do it. Like, I'm good. Garrett Wilson's got more of a question mark. Zach, you might have stronger feelings where you watch tape and stuff.
I mean, they're graded out pretty similarly. I have Garrett Wilson like slight edge, but I'm not. There's not a lot of conviction behind it. I do like the position that Elijah Moore is going to play. I think he's going to play more out of the slot than Garrett Wilson is with the Jets, and I think that drives targets. Just based on the ADOT, like the number of targets as a good wide receiver is going to be more the closer you are to the line of scrimmage. So I again, talent wise, I push Garrett Wilson, but just slightly. In fantasy football, it's probably Elijah Moore by just a yet.
Tell you what, wide receivers breaking out into the top 24 is literally 100% hit rate since 2009. Like, that happens every year since 2009. You go back before that, it's a little more spotty, so it might be an era thing, or it might just be recently that's been true. Either way, it's a pretty likely thing to happen. Of all the wide receivers from last year, the one most likely to do it is actually Devonte Smith, because he finished inside the top 36 last year. But only about 30% of breakouts into the top 24 in their second year, which happens every year, have done a top 36 season in their rookie season. So in other words, it's not a big benefit to Smith that he was slightly higher ranked. Ultimately, both had good rookie seasons, so I think Elijah Moore is as likely to break into the top 24 next year as any of those wide receivers who've gone up in value from last year's class. And I'm just like at a discount because we're worried about the rookie. Almost never does at least those positional boundaries. He can have a great year the way Elijah Moore and Devonte Smith did. Like, I just take the boat over the mystery over the mystery box. You know, just Jesse Reeves FF. I think I've heard of him. Says hello, beautiful. He's talking to you, Zach. Obviously.
Oh, absolutely not.
J-Rock.
How's it going?
What's going on?
Life is good.
He didn't want you to feel left out. Hollywood Brown or Bateman? Well, isn't that the question? 1-to-1? I don't know. It's about exactly even to me, but they're not 1-to-1. Like, Hollywood Brown is taken after Bateman, is he not?
Yeah, and I think that's the thing.
You don't know. I have to check these things.
with questions like this is a vacuum, and they're not a vacuum. But isn't this, Peter? And I don't want to put you on the spot, but isn't this the boat or not a boat? Like, haven't you seen Hollywood Brown do it, and you haven't seen
this is that
do it yet?
But I feel pretty confident Bateman will be a top 24 wide receiver. I just don't see the ceiling. Here's the thing. Hollywood Brown is drafted in the 5th round, even after going to Arizona and having another breakout season last year. And Bateman, who has technically not done it yet, is drafted in the 4th. So it's not an even trade. So I lean the Hollywood side. 1-to-1, I think it's fairly even. I think Bateman's got more hype, so you could probably trade that for more things more often. But who do I want on my roster in 2022? It's even. With their value difference, I'll take Brown. Sorry. 16-team, full PPR. Rookie draft is complete. I ended up with Walker, Sky Moore, Rashad White. Rashad, right? That's his first name.
Rashad.
Samir White, Isaiah Spiller, George Pickens. Did you get Pickens that late? Really? Good haul? Yeah, I think that's a pretty good haul from this class. I know, I was listening to the Dynasty Dummies again, and they were talking about Scott Barrett on my podcast saying this was 2016, and it just kept striking me that if there's a Michael Thomas in this class that no one's on but is drafted late 1st round, it's Dotson, right?
Bell?
That's stuck in my head ever since. It's Dotson.
What about
that
Bell?
Would be the guy who's I think it's Bell, but we're on Bell. He's got that second round Brian Edwards hype.
Bell
I have to draft him at the very top of the round to get him.
Yeah, but Bell, in the 2nd. Dotson's going in the 1st.
Yeah, maybe. I hope so, because I know Dotson
and every draft that I was in 2016, Michael Thomas was going in at like 105, 106, 107. Maybe that was just because Kyle and I were in it. But yeah.
Maybe. Stefan. I'm saying it that way now. Sorry. I know to run for as a single first is not enough. That's more than you can probably get. If you can get that, get that. But what about Hunter Renfrow on 2 seconds for a 23 first? Is that enough? I don't think you're getting a 23 first under him in 2 seconds. It depends on your league, but I think people value him as a third. Yeah. I think trade calculators are going to put him in a second, and that's ridiculous, but that's where they're going to put him, and I don't think anyone's going to like give you a second for him. So I put him around a third. If you want a 2023 first, in most leagues, you're going to have to up the hype around a player quotient, unfortunately. Like Bateman would get you a 23 first, but Hollywood wouldn't. So 4th round and above. There you go. Russell late because he's busy trying to pry Justin Ross away from one of my rosters. That makes sense. That seems like a Russ thing to do.
It was.
I hear he caught the ball with one hand now, so the value's gone up.
I definitely sent Russ that video in a DM. I was like, Russ, did you see this? One hand.
Russ.
And he said 101 hand, and I was like, yep, that's it.
Exactly. What's up, gentlemen? Ready for my favorite show of the week? Oh, thanks, Joel. Keep up the great work. You too, man. Really appreciate it. I've got a lot of lag right now. Like I click on a comment, and then after a while, it turns out. Remember when you used to write on those black screens with green writing? That's the way it feels for me right now. You do something, then you watch it appear. It's always enough if they hit accept. That's actually a fair point. Yeah.
Yep.
Who are players to target straight up for a 23 first? Honestly, I wouldn't trade them right now. Again, this all depends on your league, but there's so much hype around the 23 first. I feel like they're untradeable. They're the gold bars in Dynasty right now in my leagues. But you going big or you going home if you're trading the 23 first. That's why I'm normally saying no one to trade with a 23 first round pick in it, because if I don't think I'm getting top 12 upside, I'd rather carry it. I think I can get that eventually for 23 first.
So I just made a trade this week to get a 23 first, and I parted with Nick Chubb.
Mm-hmm. That's top 12 upside. And I take that.
Yeah, I mean, like he's right on that cusp. But again, like I gave up Nick Chubb to get that 23 first. And again, because I'm in the middle of the pack in this league. Like my team had been very good, and now it's very okay and getting older. And so I'm starting to move players like Chubb.
I think that's not a bad dynasty loose rule. Like if you're trading a pick this year, I can give you a list of players that I think are good targets in that range, and I would definitely do. But if it's a future pick, it's more about what does it do to your team, and is that a projected effect worth it? And that's why I'm saying no when people want to trade 24 and 25 picks. Like I love the idea. Trade away these future mystery boats for competing players. But if you trade them away too far away, then what you think happens doesn't happen. That's how you kind of find yourself in the middle of a rebuild, even though you were making good decisions. If you know what I mean?
See, and that's
so
why
if it's too far away. It's more about.
That's why I like to attack those classes 2 years out. So like I was trying to buy into the 23 class in 2021. So like now is a good time to be buying into the 24 class, because the 24 class, everything that people are saying is decent. And so, why not approach this now when they're devalued? A lot of people feel pick 2 years out is worth a second if it's a first round pick. And so if you can find somebody in your league that is looking for right now, and your team is already not necessarily competitive, it's not a bad thing to stack up picks 2 years out, make your pick for next year actually better by being worse. I'd rather be either on the very bottom of my league and adding picks, or at the very top of my league. Now, you don't want to get stuck at the very bottom without picks, because you stay there.
But you want to be at the bottom with. It's not necessarily just picks; it's value as well. Like think about it as more of a amorphous blob of value that you can do stuff with. But no, I've been saying that for a while. Like all the productive struggle and trade your players for first always misses that if you want to rebuild, you can't aim for the class you want. You got to aim for the class no one wants, which is always right now. It's 2 years out. No one wants 24 picks. They seem too far away. a dynasty league might be dead by then. Why would they be trading that for useful players or useful 2023 picks? But if your team sucks, you can't rebuild in 2023. If you're in a competitive league, if you're here and any of your league mates are ever in this kind of weird little corner of the internet, then they know. So you have to go a year further out. That's how you stock up like the J might check entire first round picks. That's what's always never said. It's like, by the way, if you want to go this way, you're just paying 2 years of league fees, by the way, to get there. And it's not that you can't then change that value into players earlier than that, but you have to start playing as if you are willing to do that and be willing to do that to build through productive struggle. If it's already drafted, if it's a league that's an orphan, if it's a league you've been in for 2 years.
Right.
Anyway, yeah, sorry, that was too long, but there you go. Wheeze, in a 10-man league, I had Herbert, Russ, Trevor, show off, Swift, trade him. Only running back of note, I moved Trevor and Shakir, don't mind it, for ETN and Tannehill. I like that. Yeah. Tannehill and Cousins are both really good 4 points quarterbacks. And a pretty competitive roster. The person receiving Trevor and has Allen and Watson, win or loss. I think that's a smart trade. Getting points and there's much more potential value increase with ETN.
Yeah, I like it. You still haven't seen Trevor Lawrence be the guy that everyone predicted him to be. You've seen Tannehill be pretty good, and you've got the value swing on ETN. So I like that.
I've traded away a lot of wide receivers for 23 picks. Hopefully it's because your team sucks. Sorry. And have 101, 104, 105. London and Burks are going 2 and 3. What are your thoughts on me going Wilson and JMO at 4 and 5? I think that's fine. I can tell you what my ranks are. If that helps, I would take Burks, then London, then I think it's Olave, Wilson, and then Pickens, because I'm overly high on Pickens. Bell. But who would you take at the 4 and 5, assuming Burks and Wilson and Hall and Walker are gone?
I mean, if I'm making those picks, that's who I would take. What I would try to do is trade back 2 more picks or 3 more picks. Trade back from the 104 and get the 106 or 107, and then be happy with whoever I got there, whether it's Williams, Olave, Pickens, and just do that if I can, and maybe you can get from the 104, maybe you can get like the 107 and the 201 or the 202 and end up with Bell plus whoever you got at that 106 or 107.
Yeah, I have it Olave, Wilson, then Williams, so I'd be very fine with that.
Yeah.
Hey, Russ, how you doing? Have you finished trying to trade for one-hand catch machine Justin Ross yet?
Yes. I was on the Dynasty Monocle with at Dynasty Coach A.
Nice.
And John is awesome, by the way. Go listen /watch. And we were talking about the amount of shares we had. And I have 6 shares of T. Higgins and Mike Williams, but only 4 of Justin Ross. So I'm like, no, I have to fix that.
Do I have offers?
No, because I know you.
Come at me, bro.
So like I knew what that would take. So I went to everyone else and I got 2 trades done. And they were both Christian Kirk for Justin Ross.
Ooh, I like that. I know that Christian Kirk is a guy, but Justin Ross could be a guy.
Like, there's a very good chance Christian Kirk is a very usable wide receiver 3. I'm fine giving that up to make me happy, having 6 shares of 3 Team Clems and big wide receivers. And I am going to go trade for 5 or 6 shares of Sammy Watkins once this show is over.
Just for that week 1.
Might still be a little too much, but I will go get I will trade 3rds and 4ths together to go get Sammy. Patrick Sally traded Devonte Smith, Elijah Moore, Ramondre. Okay, so you don't like rookies last year. Got it. Devonte Smith, Elijah Moore, Ramondre, Fields, and 223 seconds for Higgins, Godwin, and Ritter. 12-man, 1 quarterback. okay, so cross out. I mean, Fields is whatever. So
Yeah, but so is Ritter.
Yeah, Ritter. I honestly, even in a super flex, I wasn't really counting him too much. So Smith, Moore for Higgins and Godwin. Yeah, all day.
Yeah, I'd take Higgins and Godwin
pretty easily. So what did I miss, you guys? I see that you're only like 30 minutes behind already. So,
well, I mean, there were only two of us. Peter was like 4 minutes behind just with his lag. So hopefully he restarts his computer or closes the 63 spreadsheets that he has open, because you know he does.
Yes. Oh, I see. Jesse Reeves was the one to let you guys know that I was going after Justin Ross. Yeah. He turned down a 23 third and 24 third for Justin Ross. I knew he would because I know he likes him also, but I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to try, see if I just hit him on a good day for me and see what happens. Because I needed at least those 6 shares.
I tried so hard to trade AJ Brown in that league, and I couldn't get anybody to bite on AJ Brown. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'll keep him. I'll hang up. You don't have the ability to scroll, do you?
I do.
Peter just left us. How about I'm trading picks to get Chase? How much? Oh, no, okay.
He did it. He's around. He's just not on the screen right now. Yes, it is foolish to be psyched about Tony Pollard in general. Yes. Paul Cicero, if I'm trading picks to get Chase, how much is it going to cost me? All of them.
I would not, Paul, and I have been on record. You can go search at Tacit Assassin 13 and Chase on Twitter and do the latest. And at about the third tweet down from me says, I would not take the entire first round of 2022 for Jamar Chase. I would rather have Jamar Chase over the first round of 2022.
I was on the record on my podcast saying that was the one player I wanted from this draft class. It's basically the same thing.
23 thirds. 3?
You mean firsts? Yeah.
Yeah, Chase is worth 3 first round picks. Yeah.
And
I mean, that's the max.
I don't care what they are or going to be. It's at least 3. Well, that's a lie. I don't care if they're early. Like, I demand 3, and I'm not taking 10, 11, 12.
Yeah.
If known. Yeah, that's fair. I'd be happy to trade him at that. He's at peak, but I mean, you're not going to get it. And Chase is good, so don't panic.
Yeah, Chase and Jefferson, you should write whatever the hell ticket you want, and if you can't get that, don't trade them.
Zeke could have another really productive year, but the touches, he has so many of them. So many.
I mean, it's true, but if you like points, he is probably going to score points again this year.
I bought a couple of shares of Zeke recently for early seconds valuation.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I was going to say. I mean, I don't even have to make the argument. You can have Zeke or Elliott, or you can have, like, freaking no one. He's ranked as running back 24 on Dynasty. Like, one more you want.
I may go back after him. In one of my leagues, I traded Ezekiel Elliott and Darnell Mooney for a 23 first and Derrick Henry last year when Henry was injured. The guy was making a playoff push. I may go send a second to try to get Zeke back, which would effectively meant I sent Darnell Mooney and a second to get Derrick Henry in a first, and that would make me just inordinately happy.
Like the running back 26 is James Conner, which we hope we can get so many touches, so many.
Yeah.
And stay healthy. So, and maybe he will, but yeah, I understand your point.
The cool
again,
thing,
if your team needs value and you've got Zeke, yeah, you've got to trade him, and it's abysmal value. To be clear.
Well, that's the cool thing about that statement, FF Lefty, that nobody wants to be holding the bag, is that now that bag is cheaper if you want to acquire points, and that's
fun. The thing. Whoever's rostering him was holding the bag when the value dropped.
Yeah,
and it doesn't now they've already paid it.
Yeah, if you go trade for him and you trade for him and get him for a second, it doesn't matter that he's on your roster when he stops being productive because you only paid a second. Yeah. You're gonna get you're gonna get more from him in points than what a second round pick is worth. So you might as well do that.
to be clear, they were the ones holding the bag. If they didn't trade him before now, they held the bag for you. So that was nice of them.
And the bag was still RB like 8 or 9 last year.
Yeah. Joel A. Who's that guy this year, by the way? But Joel A. Assuming both stay healthy, where do you see ETN and Lamb finishing in their respective positions? I have answers, but anyone want to pitch it?
15 for ETN, and Lamb is probably 11.
Yeah, that's around 12 and around 15 was what I was thinking. So same as Zach. Well, 12 for Lamb, 15 for ETN. Yeah, it's really tough to say. I think it's foolish at this point to think that CeeDee Lamb is magically going to click and be wide receiver 2.
Right.
If you're lucky, things do click. Maybe he'll be wide receiver like 8, 7. And then next year, when Tyreek gets a year older, Hill gets a year older, he'll deserve and maybe earn that wide receiver 3, 4 that he had by showing he can score that high. But I think it's unrealistic to think he has the moon as a ceiling anymore.
I have CeeDee Lamb projected as a wide receiver 6 in 2022 right now. I haven't finalized them, but that's why I have him. And by the way, this is going to be the death. Vacated targets have to go away and die. Because if I'm the guy saying he can be wide receiver 6 and everyone else is unsure, and then it happens, you don't believe your own source. And I did it not believing it. So just saying. And Travis Etienne as running back 22. There's concerns.
Yeah.
There's heavy concerns in the market.
Yep. Those are absolutely fair.
But that's where I'm at.
I do think that if you assume health for ETN and not for James Conner, if you assume James Conner takes a while to come back, that puts ETN potentially scoring just a modicum higher than 22. But
in a 0.5 PPR league, how much? I want to get Austin Eckler in this league. How much on top of the 204 and the 23 second do I have to add to make it a decent offer for Eckler?
Need a first.
Or is it the fact that I'm starting with those two low?
Yeah, I think
the fact that you're starting with a second that's a problem. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but I don't want to give up a player. It's a best ball league, and I already I don't know how a team that I run has Jonathan Taylor and DeAndre Swift on it. And I can't trade them for the life of me. I hate it. And now I want Austin Eckler. The guy put in the trade bait, Eckler is on there and he wants 22 and 23 picks. But I'm like, but all I have are the 204.
What does this team look like?
I think this
because if his team sucks and he's really looking to the future, he should just accept what he can get because Eckler's an older running back with no draft status.
Russ, here we go. What I'm going to do: 204, 23 second, 24 second for Eckler.
Russ, first of all, you need to get in the chat and ask these questions so we can answer them in order.
Dude, this is a little
unfair. What good is being on the show if I can't just completely cut the line?
Do you have a player on your roster who people really like, but if you search your heart of hearts, he's really a roster clogger, like a young player who hasn't done anything yet, but everyone's like, oh yeah, he's going to? Because that would be the type of player that I would throw in a deal like this.
Like I never shot Penny on my team.
No, I don't think that's going to get it done. But
no. Well, hey man, I got Hunter Renfrow.
Deontay Johnson gets it done, maybe.
Well, yes, Deontay Johnson should.
Deontay
Johnson almost straight up should get it done.
Yeah,
but that's not what I want to do. Nah, I should have maybe Ayuk. Do you think a 204 and Ayuk can get me?
That'd be close, I think.
Yeah, that'd be close. I hate it, so it's probably good.
Well, and especially if he's looking to the future, if he's trading Eckler looking to the future, you get a youngish wide receiver and a pick.
Catch that Kyle Shanahan, no less, and the BMI is good. Yeah. I like Ayuk, but his value is so low. That's why, or his rank is so low. Hank, not jumping the queue, waiting patiently to get his question.
Get on my level.
QBs are Brady and Mills. How aggressive should he be in targeting a 2023 pick early so he can grab one of those QBs? He doesn't have a shot because he's got a good roster, and he wants one of those young QBs from next year. My immediate answer is I don't. If my roster's good, I don't want
Carr.
Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins.
It's not worth what you'll have to pay to get a 23 first in a 16-team league.
Yeah,
no less. To get a quarterback, it needs to be top 3.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you have
That's kind of what we were saying earlier.
Actually,
the 23 picks are just priced out at this point.
Yeah. You go with what you have 2 good quarterbacks. You're going to get a lot of points this season.
And his roster's good. That's why he knows he's not going to have a top pick. I mean, concentrate on winning. Never mind.
Wait, how aggressive should I target a top pick in 23? Oh, like with his pick, like if you want to tank to all ends, more power to you. Depends what the rest of your team looks like, but
he said he won't have a shot if he stands pat. So here's the thing: have you already had your rookie draft this year? Because if you hadn't, take a shot on one of those rookies that are going in probably the second of a 16-team.
They probably went the end of the first.
Maybe, but
in the trade addicts leagues, they had an ADP of like 203, 204.
Even if he's, but he'd be at the end of the first if he's got a good rock. So like, take a shot on one of those guys. Take a shot on Willis. Take a shot on Ritter. Like whatever.
Corral probably has a better chance of starting this year. All right, those 3 guys. What's your order for those 3 guys?
It's Willis because of the upside. Like the ceiling is the floor. And then I think Ritter is probably the most pro ready, and then Corral, even though I think Corral has the best shot to play. So didn't Sam Darnold,
And they were talking about maybe just bringing Cam Newton back again. But yeah, that's probably a really good point at this point. If you didn't have your draft yet, just go grab one of those guys. And even if you don't want them, they'll help you make a move later because other people are going to want that shot at a quarterback. But man,
have to assume a lot about this team just based off the name Brady. But if your team is good because it has Brady, I'm assuming all these guys, like you've got Nick Chubb and you've got like Devonte Adams. So then you should probably be pretty aggressive in adding value any way that you can because your team's aging out. Then very aggressive.
I ride that.
That's the barometer I would use. How desperate for value are you, even if your team's good right now?
Do you think it would be worth taking the hit on production from Brady to move into somebody like Derek Carr, or Kirk Cousins or something like that? That because they're pretty close in value. I mean, because Carr and Cousins are undervalued, and Brady is still scoring in the top 3 or 4 quarterbacks in the league. Maybe that's
I think you underrate how hard dynasty players adjust for that. Like Tom Brady's the quarterback 13 in DLF ADP right now, and Kirk Cousins and Derek Carr are right next to him at like QB 14 and 15.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So that's what I mean. If you can do that, but I'm not sure whoever has them will be willing to do that unless they're on a very competitive roster. Like if you want to go down from Brady, you have to go down. Like Tannehill might be an option.
Yeah, I don't want to do that because I want to still.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
What's your shirt?
My shirt is Mike Mulligan and his steam shovel, Marianne.
I don't know what that is.
It's a great book. It's a kid's book. The more people came and watched, the more they dug a little bit faster and a little bit better. They dug the town hall of Popperville, realized they didn't leave themselves a way out, so Marianne became the furnace, and Mike Mulligan became the janitor of the town hall of Popperville. It's a good book. I'll send it to you. It's excellent. Virginia Lee Burton.
Sounds great, actually. But Gavin's got an interesting football question. If the man is doing so, better win now. Wide receiver target: Mike Evans or Mike Williams? I think it's Mike Evans because I'm not sure Mike Williams does what he's projected to do. as a wide receiver 17 in redraft right now. So I'd rather have Mike Evans, but Mike Williams is a lot cheaper. So
I would pay
I
for
would go
Mike
for
Evans.
I would,
especially with I almost say Goddard. Godwin most likely missing time. I would take Evans because you'll at least get that beginning of the season push, and then even if you start to not like him, you could probably move him easier than Mike Williams is going to be tough to move, even if he does decently, because no one's going to believe it ever again after the fall he took after those few weeks of doing really well. But the answer here is Evans, regardless of price. Evans will be worth it. Evans is always worth it. So just go get Evans.
Evans is a wide receiver 21 in Dynasty ADP. Dynasty players are weird. That's what I think.
That is the answer, yes.
Us redrafters don't understand it. PPR 1 QB win now. Kareem Hunt plus a 23 third or Christian Watson?
Christian Watson. I don't care about Hunt. I don't want to play that game, especially like that's value-wise Watson very easily, and it will take very little for Watson to increase his value because he has Aaron Rodgers throwing him the ball.
Take Watson and trade him for somebody you will score more than Hunt, or
you could do it right away, or if you have the cojones to wait until week 2, and if Watson has like a 6-catch game, his value will almost double.
Turn Watson into Renfro plus.
Just throwing this out here, Gavin. Like, I don't know if you're subscribed to a trade calculator on the DLF or anything else, and I hate them, but it does give you an interesting insight into trades. For example, right now, Kareem Hunt does not cost a late first-round pick according to trade calculator. Now, that doesn't mean that's his value, quote unquote, with a capital V, but it does give you an idea that whoever's offering this is kind of trying to hamstring you. Because I want Hunt. I think he's an undervalued running back. I think he can score points again in 2022. But by offering players instead of seeing it as a value, he's strongly trying to take advantage here a little bit, in my opinion. Like, for example, late first-round value in running backs is Aaron Jones, CH. That's far and above Kareem Hunt. He's a second-round pick. He's offering you a first for a second, but because it's in players, you might not notice it.
I put it into Dynasty Trade Calculator, and it is pretty much a Kareem Hunt value off.
Yeah. So I'm not saying I don't want a Hunt in that trade, but the Christian Watson, but that side doesn't have enough value on it. It's that simple. Some things are that simple. Community greater than industry. We are really far behind, huh? Okay. Thank you, though, FF Lefty. Appreciate that. Plus money. Mixon and Godwin for a 23 first and second. 24 second. How terrible is this trade? Should it be overturned?
Nothing should be overturned.
It shouldn't be overturned, but I still want the Mixon Godwin side.
ffpodshirts.storeenvy.com. Scroll back because it's one of the first shirts I ever made. #NeverVeto.
Yeah. There was a nice unity to our statement there. Yeah, overturning. I've got a few overturned trades that I'm still bitter about. It's a sucky practice. It shouldn't happen.
So there should be a clause in your league bylaws, and you should have league bylaws plus money that says the commissioner can do things in the best interest of the league, and that should be the only time that this ever comes up, and it's going to be egregious, like to the point of we're not overturning the trade, we're throwing you out of the league, and this is not that.
I was going to say, the other thing is, I don't think this trade's too far off. I know 23 first are untradeable and everything, but that's a top 12 running back, and a wide receiver should be top 12 points per game, top 15 points per game when he's back on the field. If that's a win-now team versus a building team, I get it. I mean, it's not that I wouldn't take the first side, but I get it.
I'd rather have the Mixon Godwin side too, Peter.
Yes.
Like I think that's the side of the trade that wins pretty handily. Even though there's a 23 first on that other side, it's still like
add a 23 first and then
Mixon is a 23 first and like maybe a smidge. Godwin is a 23 first and maybe a smidge. So if you add another, yeah.
Frank C, what's up, guys? Thoughts on Akers? Is he a buy? He's not a. Every player is a buy if in your league they're drastically undervalued.
You got to keep reading past
that's
buy,
the
Peter.
underlying
You
understanding.
got to keep reading past buy. There's more. A buy 4.
I don't want to. No, my eyes are tired. I don't want to read no more. For a 23 first, 1 QB,
not a buy for a
12
23
no.
first. Absolutely not.
Is that supposed to be Akers? My brain is breaking.
Yes. Yep.
Yes. I don't think it's. I think
he's not a 23 first. And if he is to you, have I got a deal for you? I'll go find him.
He can be a top 12 running back, and he should be probably, but in the same way that Antonio Gibson was this year, and everyone's declining on his value. Like Joe Mixon's been a top 12 running back 2 years, and no one's been there. Like,
more than that.
Top 12 isn't all it's cracked up to be. Yeah.
That's a risk. That's very, very risk.
Yeah.
More risk than a 23 first is.
Well, I mean, we've already talked about where 23 firsts are being valued within this class, right? And you see,
there are just other running backs I target besides them all.
Well, but I mean, you think about this class, right? With Breece Hall, and 23 firsts are either all above Breece Hall or like just behind Breece Hall. Some of them, like there's like a little bit of a question, but even so, Breece Hall is running back 6. So you're talking 23 firsts. Akers is not running back 6. I'm sorry. Like he's that's not within his range of outcomes value wise. I think it's a 23 first easy.
Yeah.
That's the real answer, but I absolutely understand people seeing Akers as the workhorse on the Rams and being Todd Gurley. That's what's in people's minds. And that's why he's worth a 23 first to them. And if that's the case, go do it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to be mad. You can go trade it. Trade it
mad. He's just too nice to admit it. He will be. He'll be mad if you do.
No, you're never going to hurt me making a trade that makes you happy.
I can't cover your eyes. I'm like, wait, if I do this, they won't see me mouthing the words. It won't work.
Coming from this way. Peter, you're running the show.
Why. Sorry, I'm fixing something. Yeah, he's actually lower on redraft projections than dynasty projections right now. He's just not the running back I'm targeting. I mean, there is no dynasty ADP and redraft ADP, but from the sources I'm looking at, Fantasy Pros has him at running back 16, Underdog has him at running back 16, and Dynasty ADP has him at running back 13. We like that he's young.
Yes.
And I think he's good, and he should have the majority of share of that offense. It's a good offense, and he is good and probably healthy now. I mean, we literally... But again, Joe Mixon and Antonio Gibson top 12 performances were not enough to sustain their value increase, and I don't think it would be for Akers either. They're not the top 10 running backs, you know. They're just better running back values, especially if you're trading away at first. Don't overturn trades. Lefty gets it.
Yep. Okay, but no, I need bring that back up for a second because I need to talk about this. Overturning collusion is not overturning a trade. You are undoing cheating. You need to fix that because the answer is never veto.
Right.
Undoing a trade that was cheating is not vetoing the trade because you are undoing the trade and you should be kicking at least one person out. Or like, I mean, collusion. That's warning. That's if one person took advantage of another person. Like I'm trying to be as nice as possible because I have that need in my brain. But seriously, like that's not the same thing because you should never veto a trade because you never know. We don't know the future. We don't know who will do better. And who are you to tell you that someone's value is wrong? So as long as it was legitimately accepted on both parties, go. Let it happen. It is not on you to be a judge of how other people value players. That's not your job as commissioner.
And to be clear, the reason we all experience and feel this so strongly is because we've been right when other market or the group was wrong, and that's how you find an edge. And if the group is constantly overturning your edge, it's like it doesn't matter. You're better. You have to stay. It's terrible. Like all the reason all the trades I remember that were overturned actually turned out it would have like drastically changed my fate that year. And so I didn't win or didn't get into the top 3 or didn't rank and get money because you overturned my trade. I made the right move and you fucked me, basically. That's not okay. Like, I'm okay losing because I didn't get it right. Like, I'm paying my money. I'll lose if I don't get it right. That's fine. But if I get it right and I don't get to win or I don't get my pay, I don't get my league, like, that's not okay. That's the only bad that can happen. And again, it is hard to know sometimes whether it was fairly accepted by both parties, but not really. Let's be honest. It's like, not really.
What makes me
especially
really,
if
really
that
happy,
league is communicating.
Yeah. What makes me really, really happy, and I won't change it, and I love when people notice it and point it out to me. In the bylaws of Trade Addicts leagues, when I talk about this, I say the same thing. I'm like, look, I'm never going to overturn trades, but please don't cheat. If you give a trade that everyone thinks is bad, that's fine, but don't go trading Antonio Brown for a 4th.
Yeah,
because he's mad.
Nobody should get a 4th for free.
Exactly, right? Like, I wrote that 4 years ago when he was worth multiple firsts, and I purposely will not change it because now I just think it's funny.
Right.
Like, it's on all of the Trade Addicts leagues, we have banners, say like Trade Addicts, whatever. And on those banners is a picture of 2 players, and it's the first 2 big name players that were traded. Like, TA 3 or 4 has like Mitch Trubisky and Sam Darnold on it. Like, players that people won't know who they are in a couple of years.
Joel A has an interesting question. I don't know. Like, I need who are your top 5 in redraft this season? Like, Zach, Dynasty Outhouse, J. Mike Check, Gabe Gearing. Probably
I should not be top in redraft.
No,
like top 5 what?
I'm going to be very disappointing to Joel because the one redraft league that I play in is the Scott Fish Bowl. And it's not that I dislike redraft, but I've gotten so ensconced in Dynasty and the community. Shout out to FF Lefty, and that, like, doing Dynasty analysis that I don't play very much redraft, and so I don't necessarily have my own rankings. I'll go look at redraft ADP because that's a good way to find points that are undervalued in Dynasty,
like
where you look at redraft ADP where a guy is much higher than he is in Dynasty ADP. That's a good way to find points.
And if you're looking for a source, by the way, you can literally go, if you're on Underdog, and this is not paid, like, I just happen to play baseball leagues there, and they've literally got a button which is download ADP. Because I was looking for it and asking people if they could scrape it in some force, but no, if you go to the site, you can literally just download the CSV. And I was like, I'm going to do that. That's a lot easier than begging my friends who know how to code. I'm just doing this from now on.
So that's Jonathan Taylor, I'll put Jamar and Chase. I'd still put Eckler up there. I'm with you on that. And then I would take the risk on Christian McCaffrey in redraft.
Yep. I think that's what you're looking
for. Christian McCaffrey, that's the one I was going to mention. I think Saquon Barkley should be in the conversation too.
He should be a first round pick.
Yeah. You're looking for the players. You're looking for the players who can score 21, 22, 23, 24 points a game at a position that's not a quarterback position, and those players can.
Yeah, I think Christian McCaffrey. I think Derrick Henry, not because he should, but because he's the unicorn everyone keeps looking for elsewhere. Like, I don't believe in unicorns, but I've seen that one running around a field, so I'm pretty sure that one exists. Like, I've literally
but that's a really pretty horse with a horn taped on his head.
Not to be too graphic about it, but to stick with a metaphor, I don't believe in unicorns, but I've literally ridden the Derrick Henry unicorn. Like, I'm pretty sure that one's real. Like, I touched the horn, he took me around the field, won a few best ball leagues for me. Like, that one's real. There's one unicorn, and it's Derrick Henry. Okay,
and he may be the value in redraft this year because people are.
He is.
Because people are looking at that injury, and he didn't win we have this psychological, we get hurt. And I talked about this before on the Dynasty Dummies, but there's this thing where we internalize pain and bad things that happen to us way more than we do good things.
Yep.
And it goes back to lizard brain, like fight or flight. And if something bad happened to you, you were done. And so we still do this. And so Derrick Henry, quote unquote, losing you a fantasy championship last year hurts really bad. And you have so many people go, oh, I'm not drafting him. And
no, I've got this idea that when the high T running back truthers die off because of an injury, I think there's a correlation there. Then all you have left are the nerds who are like, meh, receptions, and that drags someone like Henry down. Like, I think that's what's going on there.
it's because I've been hearing Sean Siegel everywhere the last couple of weeks on pods, and Zero RB is back, baby.
RB1 at JD McKissick. Let's go.
That's back inside. I've been thinking about this. I'm doing. That was the whole thing that went with this, but some of the research that twists my brain the hardest, I work the hardest on it every offseason, is potential breakouts, because it's not a great way, but it's basically why I started looking at data. I didn't want to find a model or the secret predictive stat. I just wanted to know what happens most years, because I kept running into things like, this guy seems like a good prospect. Oh no, rookies don't do anything. How do you know that? They don't. And I was like, so. And it's taken all of this and project and everything I've been through to get to a stage where I have a database set up where I can actually look for what happens most often, most years. But it's a mind messer. Where was I?
I don't know, but I wanted it to come to fruition with, rookies don't matter.
No, they really don't on a seasonal basis. Like, we've got 2 that break into the top 5 literally ever, and Jamar Chase was last year, so we got another 10 years to wait for the next one. Enjoy waiting. But anyway, I forgot it. Potential breakouts, I think, are a really interesting lens to put through when you're looking at Derrick Henry. But in the research I'm doing for that, one of the things I'm coming to the conclusion, right or wrong, the way I feel about next season is it's an old guy year. But what I mean is that, like, there's going to be less surprises. There's going to be less Jamar Chase from nowhere. There's going to be less Saquon Barkley and CMC are injured, and running backs suddenly aren't as productive, and those top 5 don't matter. And so the wide receivers are really rolling the show. It's going to be kind of not a meh year, but it's going to be more what you expect. There's going to be less surprises, and that's less exhilarating people. And I think we're projecting exhilarating stuff into 2022. I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to be a lot of, that guy, that's what that guy does. And we've seen Amari Cooper put up top 24 seasons before. That's what he's doing this season. Yeah, cool. There's less to beat the average or beat the curve. I think it's going to be more typical in 2022. I mean, to the point, the only quarterback that looks like he is situated to break into the top 5 and his touchdown rate kind of suggests he won't do it is Joe Burrow. How boring is that? Joe Burrow is going to be a top 5 quarterback next year. I mean, yeah.
Would you be shocked if Trey Lance did it?
Yes. I don't think it's... I don't believe it. I mean, we're already seeing Dante Pettis level puff pieces about how he has to trust him. Like, I remember when Dante Pettis was just about to be fully motivated and Kyle Shanahan was the man to do it. Like, that's what Trey Lance feels like to me at this point. I don't think so. A second-year quarterback who didn't do nothing in his first year would be a very unusual breakout.
Except for score 20 points a game when he got his starts.
Yeah.
No. Don't bring numbers into this. You can't argue numbers with Peter. He doesn't believe in them.
No, I don't. No, I don't believe in small sample end of season.
It was spread throughout the season.
It's happened. He just has to be Patrick Mahomes. That's the last time that happened. Is he Patrick Mahomes?
He just.
I'm just betting against that.
He was drafted earlier than Patrick Mahomes was.
Sure.
That was the only thing I could think of in that second. That my argument.
It's not that it can't happen, and as we've talked about, I don't mind taking the upside. I did in a certain Dynasty Dummies draft recently. It's just we've talked about this ad nauseum. It's just I think 2022 is going to have less of those exhilarating surprises than last year did. That's it.
I agree with you.
Dane, and that doesn't mean Trey Lance is less likely. It's just the way I'm approaching the season, which makes me bearish on those kind of occurrences. It says nothing about the player's talent. I mean, Trey Lance, from what I can figure out, is an incredible athlete. He's an incredible football player. So, yeah, he can. I'm playing the dummy game of what happens most often. And if he beats me, I'll be excited to see him play.
You're letting him step on your brand like that, Zach? Do you believe that shit?
I'm outright stealing the brand. Dave, trying to get Lamar. That's a good player to try and get. Offered Mac Jones. Kamara on the 109. Do you think that's a decent offer?
That's a strong offer.
I think that's a strong offer. In a 10 team? Yeah. Strong offer.
Yeah. That in a 10 team, that's even a much stronger offer. You might just.
I would.
Going back to the conversation we were just having with me trying to get Eckler without giving up anything super valuable. I think you're stuck there.
How can I get what I want for nothing? That's pretty much the dynasty question.
Mac Jones is not. He's not nothing, but in a 10-team Superflex league, he
kind of nothing.
He's so much better.
Two?
Like you're giving up a lot of things that are twos for like top 5-1, and that's what's going to be tough about it. Like how do you get Lamar? Combine Kamara and the 109 on your team to one piece.
So that trade partner loves the Pats, may be to your advantage. Like that's a thing in leagues. Like I have a home league that there is a gentleman who loves the Jets. There's a gentleman who loves the Bills, and you know that you can move players, and and so that's a thing.
You have a Dolphins fan just to finish out the AFC East.
What?
Do you have a Dolphins fan just to finish out the AFC East?
We did, but we got rid of him.
I will say, in any league that I had Shane Manila in my league, that's the guy I was trying to trade Jalen Reagor to last year. I was like, "Hey, Shane, do you want Jalen Reagor?" Just throwing that out there.
But and then it depends on what the thoughts are on Kamara or how that team looks, whether Kamara is going to be beneficial, what their quarterbacks look like. I mean, like there's a whole bunch to this, but that's not an awful offer, I don't think, Dane.
No, I don't think that's a strong offer. I would probably tell him to not take it, but at the same time, I think some people would. So.
3 for 1, it's a little compilation value.
Yeah.
What you need to do is you need to go find Paul Cicero, who just traded for Lamar, and figure out how we're going to do this.
Yeah, it'll be really fun. Yeah, just go do it.
Williams, Ford. No, Darrell, Kyron, Jerome Ford. That's the way I'd rank these 3. Anyone?
Darrell, Kyron, Ford.
Yeah, it's backwards from
I think we just answered that one. Sorry. Anthony, concerns about Elijah Mitchell. Not at this current market. No, everyone's almost given up on Mitchell. I don't understand it. Is he a sell? No, I at this point he's a buy for me.
But why are you concerned now? What changed? There's no reason to be concerned now if you weren't concerned 20 minutes ago. I think it was at this point it was a month ago where he had a knee clean out scope. Right. If that worried you, sure. But now, there's nothing happened to be worried. They overpaid to get a not great running back in the draft, and last time they did that, it was Joe Williams. It was one of the Williamses. I can't remember which one anymore. That's how much Kyle Shanahan pounding on the table.
Joe. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember. There was another Williams.
I remember Joe.
So
the other Williams was
now that Williams, Elijah Mitchell's. He used to be worth the 105, 106 area. Now he's probably closer to the 110, 112. I'm not.
And it happened over the off season when nothing was happening.
Yeah, there's he's falling for zero reason. And if Lance does become the starter, mobile quarterbacks are only good for running back. Well, no, that's having a mobile quarterback is a good thing for running backs. Man,
Alfred Morris and Robert Griffin kind of there's a reference for you. I wanted to allow draft
always the go-to,
but I had so many rookie GMs in my startup a few years ago.
Don't care. Allow it anyway. Let them make their mistakes and live through it.
Yep,
that's how you learn. And
do make them pay.
No trade is
draft picks. You pay that league's fee.
No trade is their last trade. You can screw up your team all you want. They can fix it later. And if they choose to leave because they messed up their team, you don't want them in your league anyway. Go to Twitter. You'll be able to find replacements without a question. Your job as commissioner is not to protect managers from themselves. Your job is to make sure the league keeps running, and part of that is just replacing people.
Well, and part of kind of your growth in Dynasty is screwing up a draft.
I'm still bad at drafting, and I've been doing Dynasty for like 6 years now.
And I go back to this, but like my initial startup in 2014 with my home league started off the first round and then the turn with Drew Brees and Adrian Peterson on suspension, mind you, and Drew Brees, and just drove that team into the ground as I kept on going. I think the only pick that I made that was, looking back in hindsight, a good pick was Mr. Irrelevant in that draft was Travis Kelce.
Nice.
I took him with the last pick in that draft after he'd been injured all the year before.
Yep.
So, I mean, don't.
To your point earlier, Zach, we remember pain more. So let them mess up, man.
Yeah.
They're not going to learn. I didn't learn without tanking and making a bunch of different mistakes. I'm still learning and making mistakes. It's fine.
Yeah.
That's part of the. John Bosch won't agree with me on this, but if you can't enjoy messing stuff up and losing and making bad decisions, and games aren't for you. Like, you have to find fun in trying.
Well, yeah, John Bosch is not the guy to talk to for that top for when things involving fun, but
But fun to make fun of Josh.
what you're doing is reducing fun. Why are you going to have them not have fun? The right thing to do is find a free calculator and point them to it, so they all have a one thing.
Point them to the Dynasty Grind, man. Do us a favor. Bring them over. We'll talk. This is usually the point in the show I go to Twitter because we're lagging and we don't and say ask us questions, cowards. I'm not doing it this week. We're way too far behind. We're blowing
We're only
up
an hour
week.
and 4 minutes.
Oh damn!
I mean, Anthony, all pro Devin Duvernay have any chance to become poor man? No.
It's true.
He'll be great on baseball.
Maybe.
Like there'll be a random game where he catches an 80-yard touchdown, but like you're not going to want to. No, he's not going to become a wide receiver too.
Yeah, I think he's one of those good NFL players. I don't think he's fantasy.
He's no Quan Cosby, that's for sure at Texas.
That is a name I've heard before. It actually is.
Recovering Ridley Truther. Hey, gents, and another 12-team Superflex PPR rookie draft. I have back-to-back picks at 304 and 305. This is the level of depth we need. Is a single 2023 third enough to trade out, or would you want more? I mean, no, that's fine. At third round, it's just if you don't want to make it, I'd trade it for another third round pick. That's fine. If Justin Ross is there, then I'm taking the pick.
Yeah,
if Justin Ross is there, just trade him to me. It's fine.
Don't trade both of them for a third, though. Like, right? Is that what we're asking? Like, nah. Like, I would take a third and something, like whatever, but like a third and like a fourth this year.
I don't. To be clear, 2023 isn't so good that the thirds are worth more.
Yeah, it's the first round. Like we're looking at the first round.
Hey, I know this guy. He's been on the show. Hey, buddy, how you doing? He was here last week, Russ.
Russ was here last week with the cash
for like a half hour. Yeah, I showed up.
That's true. What are you offering for Mike Evans? Good question. He's wide receiver 24, so he should get away with a late first round pick, 2022. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Dynasty has got that quiet smile on his face that says he's talking to people he actually enjoys more than it. So I'm assuming he's not listening, but
no, not listening at all. Sorry, but John Bosch is complaining that people are stupid right now, so I have to listen because it's hilarious. That poor man with people that just don't read his rules and instructions on things when it's very clearly written out. And I am always one of those people as well.
He hates me so bad this time of year.
I know my time and place, and now is not one of them. Don't mess with John during rookie auction time and eliminators are 2 times you don't try and joke with John Bosch. It's just
he
not
goes to
good.
so much effort to make sure every question is answered somewhere
Yes.
before it happens, and every time I just ask him straight up, and he's like, "It's right here, Pete. It's right here," and I'm like, "I didn't see that. I didn't know where to find that." He gets very
Mike Evans.
Mike Evans value.
You were right. I mean, he's right around that wide receiver 24. But if I am looking at my, yeah, and I would too. But I think you can get away with not overpaying for Mike Evans because, dun dun dun, he's old. But he's also had a 1,000-yard season every season that he's been in the league. Like it's where are we at 8 now in a row? Like it's just ridiculous. So, like I would look at my tight
trades
ends.
just to throw a few out.
I would look at my tight ends. I'm trying, Peter. I'm trying to go for it. I would look at my tight ends and see if I had someone like TJ Hawkinson or that like Freiermuth and like do one of those guys and maybe like a second and see if I could get Mike Evans. And if I could, I would be absolutely ecstatic because I think I have more points and a tight end that I don't care about. Dawson Knox, whatever. Now Peter's muted himself.
Ideally, I get him for like Russell. Yeah, ideally, I get him for like Russell Gage in a second. Some hype sleeper and a second-round pick. But I would trade him straight up for like Michael Pittman. And I'm not choosing Michael Pittman to throw shade on Pittman. I'm saying a top 24 wide receiver who is young. Because I think Mike Evans is a
getting
top 12 wide receiver who is old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yes. Go get points for Mike Evans. It is worth it.
To throw someone I like, I mean, Terry McLaurin straight up for Mike Evans. He's younger. He's a top 24 wide receiver.
Yes, I would do that.
And that's kind of the way I would frame it. Because I can't give you every specific trade, and the late first value is just, I don't have a late first round pick, so what do I do? So that's the way I'd approach it. I'm trying to get those points. I want to trade less points that has more youth to make it a fair trade.
So I pulled up the DLF trade analyzer and all the values, the players around him: Antonio Gibson, Garrett Wilson, Travis Kelce. Then there's Mike Evans, 105, Michael Pittman. Would you give a 23 first? This is a 1 quarterback values. Would you give a 1 quarterback 23 first for Mike Evans?
I probably well, if I'm competitive, yes. So for frame of reference,
I would, but I don't want to.
Mike Evans, who had a terrible year for Mike Evans last year, finished as the wide receiver 12 in PPR. In PPR, he was the wide receiver 12, and in points per game, he was the wide receiver 12.
People think he did worse because he had a couple of games where he caught one. He was Jordan Howard, where he caught one ball for 1 yard and a touchdown, and like that wasn't good for what you paid for him. So it's just like he's bad now.
No. It's so funny because he went from being
click last year.
He went from being perennially overrated as being like a top 5 wide receiver.
I was good with him a wide receiver too. Odell and then Evans. I was there for that.
That was wild. Like he had one like outlier season that was great, but then he went from that to being like completely undervalued, and we're still there.
I'm good with that.
Do you all prefer everyone being on waivers constantly or having free agents where it is first come, first serve if breaking news comes out? I can't have free agents.
Yeah, no. Don't you normally do both?
Yeah,
so I think they're asking, like, I was in a league where there was no first come, first serve, but waivers ran every single day. Like every morning, the waivers ran.
No, I don't want to do that. I like having the one day where I have to worry about waivers, and then if I miss it, which I usually do, I go pick the first come, first serve and try to like predict next week what the flavor of the week is going to be.
I'm with Zach.
Eric, hello, Grinders. 2-part post. I wasted money on PFS projections. I have never been behind there. I assume they've got good stuff, though. For the 2022 season, they projected Marcus Mariota to throw 4,607 yards, 24 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 586 rushing yards, and six rushing.
That's his
touchdowns.
career, right? That's his career.
That's harsh.
I would say, and maybe talk to him about it, especially if you feel like they're a little off, because maybe they're doing something like I do, which is projecting what's currently expected, and then you can see that that's a little much.
I wouldn't be like, okay, so would you be surprised with 4,000 yards? No, I don't think so.
4,000 yards. I mean, yeah, I'd be a little surprised he stayed. If he gets all 17 games, I'd be surprised. That's a high ceiling. Like, not many teams get over 4,000 yards every season.
Not only is that 4,000 yards, that's like 4,600 yards.
No, that's why I'm saying, like, drop it down that 600 yards. Like, hit 4,000 and be happy about it. 24 touchdowns might be too many, to be honest, and definitely not 6 rushing touchdowns. So if you drop that to like 18 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, rushing yards, man, he's a little older. Maybe he doesn't rush that much, and like 3 touchdowns, rushing touchdowns, like that's pretty believable for me.
Yeah, I don't.
And I love Mariota, so, and the fact that that's way too high for me, that does say something.
Yeah, it's way higher than what I got. Mine aren't fixed yet. They're not great on a seasonal basis, but I got like 200 passing yards a game, 214 or so for the team. Yeah, a little high for me, but
there were 10 wide receivers.
10 smart people.
10 quarterbacks last year threw for 4,000 yards. 10, and the bottom of that was Aaron Rodgers. So PFF can pound sand on that 4,600 yards.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It's expecting a lot from a team that's clearly signaling they're expecting a somewhat of a building season. They're adding interesting skill positions. They're not investing at quarterback. That's as building as the NFL gets, right?
4,000 yards last year. Tom Brady, Justin Herbert, Matt Stafford, Mahomes, Derek Carr. Yeah, Derek Carr, huh? Joe Burrow, Dak Prescott, Josh Allen, Kirk Cousins, Aaron Rodgers. And
that's it.
That's it.
Okay, then yeah, he's not throwing for 4,000 yards. To me, like in my head, it's a passing league. 4,000 yards is easy. That's my bad.
That's a little high.
So yeah, he's not going to do that.
With 4-point pass touchdowns, Mariota projects to be 6th in my league for fantasy points for QBs. Are the projections wacky? I think that's a little high for us, Eric. Yeah, it's pretty wacky. I don't know. I mean, is this part of the Kyle Pitts needs to have 1,000 yards to get a touchdown, and they want him to get 4 touchdowns? Is that what's going on?
Bosch is behind PFF. We figured it out.
We solved it.
I mean, I like Mariota. Don't get me wrong. I think he's capable. I think that's a little high for an expected medium projection. That's 3,000 yards would probably be pretty high. I've got him closer to 2. I'm just saying. Plus money. Hopkins plus Winston for a 23 first. Yes, I would take that first all day, every day. Thank you very much. I'm assuming, right?
It's nice points, but yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's closer in a super flex, but it's still the first.
We hope it's points, but isn't he suspended for 6 games now? So that's 10 games worth of whatever. Yeah. 12-team PPR super flex. I'm a fan.
Agree.
Patrick, Kyle plus what equals Pitts?
Sorry,
there's no way.
Let it go.
There's no way I can answer this without John Bosch getting in my mention somehow.
Kittle in a first if you're lucky. Kittle a first and a second if you want to like push it a little more. Kittle in 2 first if you want to just effing go for it.
And Kittle all day long, personally. Hey, agent. Freak Stomp. Just saw 5 running backs go in the first round of our rookie draft. Wow, that's a lot for a rookie draft.
I can't even name 5 running backs in this class. No, I'm just kidding.
I probably can, but yeah, it's a push. Pierce went on 107. Cook went on 108. Is this like a heavy points per rush league or something? Spiller went 111. David went 309. Wow. Awesome.
Pierce went at 107. Man.
Is Hollywood's consensus value finally equal with your valuation of him? No, I think it's still low. I've got him like a wide receiver 17, I think, overall in my ranks, and he's, what did we say? He's closer to wide receiver 24 if you look at like a consensus. It's fine. It's now fine, but it still feels like a value. You know, I don't think he's a top 12 wide receiver or nothing. I wouldn't be shocked if Kyler Murray can turn him into that, but I don't think he's going to. So he's closer to a top 15 guy for me, like max range of outcomes. And I think he's still ranked as like a maybe top 24 guy. So it's still low. He asked me specifically, so you guys don't get an opinion. No, what's your opinion?
Well, no, this was back. Like, I'm assuming that was stemming from the Bateman versus Hollywood, and you were on the Bateman side, which was a little wild. You were.
I said Bateman's drafted ahead of him, so I don't have to. I get something with Hollywood. That's the whole benefit.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're saying Bateman's worth more. Got it.
I have Hollywood projected over him in 2022 projections. Shut up. Plus, I roster him almost everywhere. Sorry, Redley Truther. I skipped over that. Easily Hollywood greater than Bateman, proven wide receiver recruit. Yeah, it's the same. Like, I'll take the boat over maybe a boat, even when it's Bateman. That's a nice maybe a boat, but I'll take the boat.
Hasn't the whole prior playing with a QB been like debunked at this point? Like, I feel like I saw someone wrote something about that where old chemistry doesn't matter.
Did they write it before?
That definitely doesn't matter.
Did they write it before Jamar Chase was the greatest wide receiver ever with Joe Burrow?
Yeah. The whole he's got his locker
we all got
in
let
the
down.
locker room.
We got really let down with the whole Andrew Luck to Kobe Fleener thing, and it was just dead.
I'll say this: I don't think anyone but Andrew Luck makes him that relevant. But I think that's one of the things that,
tight ends.
Yeah, was always just kind of eye rolly. Those no. Peter, I can confirm that the public is not on Bell. Okay, that's good to know. In my leagues, I'm about to fight tooth and nail. I'm just saying. I'm missing out on Wandale Robinson because I have to trade everything I got to get in the early second to get David Bell. So I'm missing out on those mid-second round picks, and it's painful. So.
I had the early second and missed out on David Bell in one of my leagues, and I was not very happy about it.
People should stop listening to us. Not you guys. You guys keep listening, please.
No one should stop. No, keep watching, but just don't listen to what we say. Keep giving us those numbers because that's all we care about. We don't care about you people at all.
Put us on mute. Seriously, just put us on mute. Let us earn a living over here at $0 an hour. And Patrick Sally traded Devonte Smith, Elijah Moore, Rondell Fields, and 2:23 seconds. That's a lot of.
We did this already.
And Smith.
Oh, we still like the Higgins.
Yeah, Higgins and Godwin
side.
Super easy.
Yep,
Higgins side. You guys were talking about Chubb's value last week. Great running back, definitely, for sure, absolutely. But better to be a day early. Yeah. Oh, man, that's the question. I was saying, who's Ezekiel Elliott this year? The guy you trade because you don't want to be holding the bag. Personally, I like the points, but Chubb's a good candidate. Maybe.
Like I said, I traded him for a 23 first this past week.
21st round, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't think it's Henry or Cook. Those are the ones that have dropped in value significantly. I think it's Chubb.
I can't for the life of me get a first for Henry, which frustrates me.
Crazy.
Is anyone thinking?
Yeah.
Anyone thinking Alvin Kamara might be done? Me, I'm nerdy. I'm like receptions. No, he's insulated personally, but I thought I'd throw it. No, it's probably Chubb. Unfortunately, it's probably Chubb to be the guy to be out early on. I moved Kamara for Hunt and a 23 first. Good. Yes,
take the first.
Yeah, honestly, very soon you won't be able to get a first for Kamara anyway. So yeah, you got Hunt.
Yeah, actually. What players could you get when trading away 23 first?
Pick someone. You can probably outside of the top 5 at each position. Pick someone. You have a chance.
You can't get Jace. You can't get Jefferson. You can't get those QBs, those top 5 QBs in a super flex. Outside of that, the negotiation is ongoing, but possible. Honestly.
All right, hold on. Let's pull up 2 QB / super flex. Control F, 2023. So here, around the 2023 first, let's go below a little. Damn. Oh, that's an early. This says early. Here's what an early 2023 first is worth. It is worth more than Trey Lance, Javonte Williams, Deebo Samuel, Devontae Adams, Christian McCaffrey. Then there's the early 23 first. Then there's Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, Trevor Lawrence, the 101. Like, that's how high early 23 firsts are being valued.
Yes.
So it's Chase and Jefferson and everyone else is available, basically.
Outside the top 5 of each position, go for it. Exactly.
That's tempting, though. Higgins? Ooh. I'm going to say that's a hard loss, Patrick. Sorry about that, bruh. Bruh. I like it when people say bruh. Hey, Russ. Just got here. Well, do we have Kyle Pitts content for you, my friend? Bob Gilpin. That's your trade calculator. Plus money. Russ got here. That's Thank you, Plus Money.
Russ is going to bed now. All right.
Alan Davis. Daryl, I tell you what, we stayed on so long. And Zach just literally bailed. He's like, I'm going. And clicked. It was just me. Alan Davis. Daryl Williams signs with Arizona. Does his value rise or fall?
I mean, it's better than not being on a team by a site.
Alan?
It makes me
I think
sad
you're the one
for
who likes Darren Williams. You're the one. I don't not like him. I just think if you're expecting massive rises in Darren Williams' value, you probably like him more than most. So
but it does hurt my Keontae Ingram.
Yes, that's what I was saying.
Because Daryl Williams is notoriously a very good pass blocker, which means he's going to be on the field on third down, which is when you were hoping Keontae Ingram was going to be on the field. And before you give me that face, watch what happened to Clyde Edwards-Helaire last year with Daryl Williams on the field on third down, a guy who had 60 receptions in college. Clyde Edwards-Helaire got negated by Daryl Williams on third down.
No, my face is because I don't think I like my next answer to this question because I think I like the A.J. Dillon side.
No.
I'd
Zeke
still rather
plus
have
a
the
third,
Zeke guy,
Dillon plus a second.
Yeah.
But that's the point. I mean, next year you're going to want A.J. Dillon by
Would you be surprised if they scored somewhat similarly, though?
I would. But
yeah, never mind. I take that back. Yeah, I think Zeke will score more. Is it worth it for that pick swap? Yeah, I'll take Zeke.
How am I the guy who likes Thies McGee more than everyone else?
I mean, it's close, Peter. It's not. That's not a bad trade. I don't mind getting the Dillon side. Like that wouldn't be the end of the world by any stretch. I think I could get more for Zeke than that, and that's what I'm going to do. Well, then if I can't, then I'm going to die. Have him die on my roster. That's fine.
Like this is a great pivot to get younger.
I get it.
And then pivot off of AJ Dillon and keep that second.
Yeah, this is a team situation almost. But honestly,
I assume he's going. That person's going for you.
Yeah, and if you are and if you're in that middle, then this is definitely the AJ Dillon side.
Yeah.
But
oops, sorry.
No, you can move on.
Bob, Christian Kirk is a Jag. I mean, yeah, we were there a while ago. Jag, you're right, Zach. Pun intended.
Pun intended. Yeah.
Eric started talking to Paul because we were taking so long.
I told him to. He needed to go get Lamar. Wasn't that the?
Yeah. Have 3425. 12-team PPR, Zach Wilson, 101, or Deshaun Watson, Rojo, and a 209. Thanks, guys.
One quarterback, I'm assuming. So
the 101 this year, I'm assuming.
So Brees or Deshaun, Rojo. It's Brees. The answer is Brees.
Brees, right.
If it's If
it's one quarterback, I mean, Deshaun Watson, assuming he does play, is a much better advantage over Zach Wilson, but it's still just a 12-team one quarterback league. So give me the running back.
Yeah.
Yes, give me the side of the trade with 2 Jets on it. That's what we just said.
Don't say it like
that. Jesse Reeves. I know that guy. I respect the effort, Russ. I love attempting trades with you.
I knew he would reject it. It was great.
I offered Jesse a trade the other day, and he thought about it for a day and a half, and then he was like, I had to think about that a long time. Reject, and I was like, oh man,
Give me
Josh
something for
Jacobs
the effort, man.
so close.
I feel like a number's missing here. Josh Jacobs plus 23rd for ETN. 23rd.
It has to be a second, right? Because that's the only thing that
Second,
goes
right?
in.
Second, right?
I would just keep
Josh
Josh Jacobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What does ETN cost? No, you have to ask a guy in your league, but right now
Jacobs in a 23.
Godwin and Henderson for ETN and J Rob. No, give me Godwin so easily.
I
say pass catchers. Woot woot.
I mean, pass catchers that aren't catching passes for a few weeks.
I don't care.
And they're old. No, it's perfect Godwin, but I don't know. The ETN feels like it has a higher upside value swing, right? Godwin's value isn't going up from here.
Yeah.
Like how, especially with the incoming 23 class, like what does ETN have to do to get into the top 12 running backs and stay there through next
Godwin's
season?
only 26, Peter. He's not old.
Next year he'll be old when he's 27.
ETN would have to play for a full season and have
Probably be a
1,000
top 8
yards
running
or-
back.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess Godwin's side here. ETN for Josh Jacobs and a 23 second. That's
Josh Jacobs.
We guessed it. Look at us go. Tis TV. I've traded away a lot of wide receivers for 23. I feel like we asked. Yeah, we saw this one before. Sorry, we took a while to get there, Tiz. Jason Gray, 12-team Superflex, half-point PPR, my tight end premium. My tight ends are Hawk and Schultz and Abbott. Oh, trade him. McBride, keep him. Rebuilding in 2022 to compete in 2023. Who should I trade? Who should I keep? Thanks, guys. Yeah, I really want to trade Abbott and Schultz right now. That's mine. I'd keep the other two mostly.
I mean, if it's a no tight end premium, trade them all, whatever.
Yeah, it's tight end premium though.
No, it said
no
tight end premium. Like
that's true. Actually, I'd trade Hawkins. McBride will be the only one I'd keep because his value is going to be exactly what it was when it.
And I know you don't like this answer, Peter, but the guy who probably has the least amount of sizzle is Schultz. Like I don't think anybody thinks Schultz is very good, but he's actually not terrible. And so keep that guy, trade Hawkinson because people think Hawkinson is the next whoever, Kelsey, and Alberto they think is going to be the next Fant. And so like those are the guys that you trade.
Yes.
Okay. I keep McBride and trade the rest, but that's fine.
That's
problem, Ted.
It's fine too. But I think that if you're counting on McBride to be a productive tight end next year, you may be a couple years early.
Jefferson or Zeke, Henry, Cook? All three?
I have to keep Jefferson just because those three are dying assets. That's a lot of points, but if you don't win, that's rough on your team.
Yeah. I mean, if I can win, I might do that.
Like, yeah, if there's no trade deadline and you're in the playoffs, cool, go do that. But right now,
yeah.
If my other wide receivers are like also great, then sure, maybe, but I probably wouldn't like it. I'm keeping Jefferson. I'm just keeping Jefferson. I don't think that's a bad decision. Probably is. Weaves, what do you guys think about Gainwell, Eagles, backfield usage in general?
I don't know why they didn't use him at all. Like, even when Sanders got hurt, they didn't use him as a receiving back. Like,
because they had Boston Scott, RB1.
Yeah, I just don't know the Eagles' backfield is something I'm interested in outside of, the value you get on Sanders. They don't run a lot,
The Eagles are the most frustrating backfield outside of New England.
Yeah. And it's going to keep, like, I think Sanders is the one that has relevance, and the rest are just frustratingly.
I just have Boston Scott on all my teams because in the last 2 weeks when you need him in the playoffs, he's going to score.
Boston Scott season.
I just keep him, and then I immediately put on. I have my switching up to Boston, and it's an evergreen parody because Miles Sanders always has an injured leg. I had Sanders pegged, but he injured his leg.
I know that's an old song, but Zach is on such a fucking roll lately with the songs. I DM'd him the other day, and I'm like, even if we were not already friends, after the Scott Fishbowl songs, I would have DM'd you and said, you have parodied some of my favorite songs that I feel like not everyone would even know what they are, and they have all been hilarious. We're friends now, whether you want it or not. Because fire emojis everywhere, Zach.
You make me blush, Russ.
You match your shirt. I love it.
12-team Superflex tight end premium this time. Start 10 was offered Kyler for the 23 first, Sky Moore, and Malik Willis.
Kyler.
Take it.
Okay.
Kyler's value is really low.
It really is. Jacob Rickroad doesn't like him. Not like him. He doesn't see upside.
It's like it's funny. Like people got freaked out when he scrubbed the Cardinals off of his social media, and his value actually got lowered from it, and it never went back up. It's so weird. Why is he not a top 4 or 5 quarterback?
I think he is.
He's not.
He should be.
He should be. Yes.
That's not a bad team, though, if you add Kyler to it. Mahomes and Kyler give you a double advantage at quarterback. And then you got Javonte if Barkley does anything.
Trade Javonte.
I mean,
that's right.
That's fine. But he's got Javonte, who's a nice piece, whether you play him or not. Barkley, Ramondre Stevenson could end up being okay, depending on what the Patriots do. You never know. And then look at the wide receivers. You got
solid.
I mean, like a whole bunch of guys who should be wide receiver 2s.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's not bad.
It's not a bad tight end premium. Goddard's great. And if Henry keeps catching those touchdowns.
Yeah. I don't mind that, Adam. That's not a bad team.
I take a little wide receiver help. Like Sutton's got upside. DJ Moore is what DJ Moore is.
There's not much ceiling in his wide receivers, but if you have Mahomes and Kyler, that covers that.
Yeah, that does. Yeah. I won't sell Eckler for less than a 23 first and maybe Brandon Cooks.
I mean, that's the smart answer, yes, but I was trying to be cheap. I admit that. And yes, Bob, I said it at the time. What's the point of being on shows if I can't hijack them and help myself with the smart people I do shows with?
Gavin is insane and took over a 16-team Superflex orphan.
They are rough.
Went into rebuild and it's going really well so far. Glad to hear it. I have Saquon. That's a weird rebuild. What kind of return should I be looking for? I mean, I'd wait till the season starts and he's worth 2 firsts again.
You see, it's rough in a 16-team league. You can't just say a first because
good point.
Gets really far back. With Saquon, I want a top 12 pick. Like, I still believe in Saquon. I still believe Saquon could finish next season as the RB1
minimum. Actually, like if it doesn't have a top 12 pick in it, I'm probably not interested in the trade.
But you're rebuilding. Give me a starting quarterback, and I might start being okay about it. Like, give me a quarterback that's under 30, and maybe I do that swap just because of how hard it is to get quarterbacks in a 16-team Superflex league.
Jeremy, I traded Saquon for what I think will be an early 23 first straight up.
Depends on the league size, but yeah.
Yeah, that's where we are. I think it's wrong, but yeah, good move for you.
Kevan, nice. I do like the idea of leagues that create a window for the rest of the league to make a stronger bid on trades for a limited period of time.
I want one league that does this. Like, it's one of those things like the draft before the NFL draft. I'm glad I have one league that does it because I think it's a lot of fun. I want one league that does this. When I was first creating the Trade Addicts leagues, I brought this up and everyone was just like, nope. And I'm like, all right, I guess it won't happen. So that's something you can't force on people. Like, that would make a league difficult to deal with. But
to
I
stop
do.
that, I would have given you more comments
Yeah.
afterwards. Yeah.
Yes, that's literally what that does.
It would, for me, I would just be like, nah,
No one
I'm
would
good.
offer. A lot of people wouldn't offer trades. They would just go and snipe people if they think
Yeah,
they can.
I wouldn't, and I probably wouldn't. I'd just be like, nah, I'm good. Like,
Because
I'm just gonna do my thing in the draft. You guys have fun trading.
It's to me, it's insanely interesting, and I want to try it. It is probably terrible.
Traded ETM for a 23 first. Yeah, I think that's fine.
See, this is why Bob is great. This is why Bob is great. That's the second format he's commented with. That's
I know it's weird, right? It's like he's watching on 2 different devices.
Yeah.
That's
YouTube and Twitch, baby. That's 2 views right there.
Akers running back 24.
It's a little low, even for me. That's a little low.
I have him 22. Oh wait, Akers. I have running back 13 right now. Actually, us in ETN. Great trade, Jeremy. Saquon is done. I don't think
zero reason to believe Saquon is done.
Yeah, but he stepped on someone's foot, Russ.
Gavin, top 5 dynasty running backs and wide receivers. I mean, we have ranks in place.
Do we?
I say, don't lie. You have ranks.
I do.
I mean, the top 2 are easy of all. Okay, top 5 running backs: Taylor, and any order of Najee, Swift, Harris.
Isn't Najee and Harris the same thing?
Crap, Javonte, not Najee and Harris. God damn it. Jonathan
What's
Taylor,
top 5?
Najee Harris, DeAndre Swift, Javonte Williams. I don't care anymore. I'll say Austin Eckler because I love that guy.
Yeah.
My running backs are Taylor, Harris, Swift, who I want to trade away at that value so strongly. Then Christian McCaffrey and Barkley.
I agree, for the next year or 2, but I think dynasty people are annoyed with the injuries and they're too old. I didn't realize how far back my thumb bends until I just saw it on the camera right now. Look at that.
It's interesting.
Sorry, that's how my brain works. But yeah, I don't think you need to have. Maybe McCaffrey could be some people's RB5-ish, but man, Barkley's probably not above 10 for most people. But he should be. I'm with you. I love him.
And wide receivers: Jefferson, Chase, Lamb, Waddle, Hill. And I realize I have both Miami wide receivers in my top 5, and I don't like it. It's man, I don't like it. That's the best I got.
I mean, would you? I mean, I could switch out Hill with AJ Brown and feel fine about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's about the tiers at a certain point.
Yeah,
neither of you have Cup in your. I mean, I know he's old. I know he's.
Oh no, he should be there.
I have Cup, Diggs, and Brown all in that same tier with Hill. So, I very much like them. It's just a happenstance of ranking. I can move them below those 3 and feel real comfortable too, and then put Cup in my top 5. I'm fine with that too.
Nelson Aguilar and a 24 fourth for Sammy Watkins just got rejected.
Why is that trying?
Because I want more Team Clemson big wide receivers on my teams. I now have 6 shares of T. Higgins, Mike Williams, and Justin Ross, so I need to get 6 of Sammy Watkins.
You should trade for Renfro, man. That's where the Team Clemson big wide receiver.
Let him put on some platform shoes, and lift some weights. And we'll talk about it.
Have you seen the meme that's going around with him side by side with DK Metcalf?
No, that exists.
Guess which one was it wide receiver 1 last year?
That's fantastic.
No, that's my go-to right now. Every time someone says alpha, I'm like, hey, do you know who was the alpha between DK Metcalf and Ryan Renfro last year?
Yeah, but
it wasn't the guy you think it was. Because alpha is just angry. I'm not convinced Akers will be the same post Achilles.
I mean, he already came back and was in.
Says Alan Davis. I mean, I think, that's a concern, I guess, but I think he's healthy now, and I'm definitely not going to be able to know that personally.
I would prefer Barkley, but Akers is probably worth more just because of the age.
I don't think Akers is worth more yet. I think that we're projecting future value as opposed to current value.
Well, that's dynasty value. I think his dynasty value is higher than
Saquon's. We'll have a discussion about this at some point, Russ, but I think there are 3 very specific types of value within Dynasty. It's
What's
kind of like
compare?
wide receiver. When you say wide receiver, DK Metcalf is not the same wide receiver as Hunter Renfrow is not the same wide
Hunter
receiver
Renfrow's an
as
alpha. We know.
Jefferson.
We just
Right.
talked about it.
So, but I think that there are three different
It's like
types
the
of.
alpha.
I really love when I can make Peter really laugh. It makes me so happy.
I think there are three different types of value, and I'm still on the Barkley side.
I'm curious
Now,
what your third
I am.
is. I have dynasty and
Yeah,
fantasy
fine.
value, which is pretty much hypothetical value and fantasy points.
Well, that's it. So you've got like the current value, which is like the market. Then you've got like
and
the
what
future
they
value,
really
which is
are.
like predicting the market. And
Okay.
then you've got points, which is a whole separate value, not necessarily related to the market, but has quasi tie-ins. So I think there are three distinct like
I can see what
places
you're
where
saying,
where we think about value, and I don't think that everybody thinks about it that way. And so there's an advantage to be gleaned again, because I think Barkley right now is still a top 10 running back in Dynasty, and Akers is not. I'd rather have Barkley now if I can trade him for something better than Akers, which I can.
Oh dang, that's weird. In the Superflex May ADP, Barkley is running back 6.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I'd have him quite that high, but it's pretty close.
Wow. I mean, I'm just surprised that and he's 8 in 1. Man,
Yeah,
I'm wrong. I did not he was like running back 16 in April. He went.
No, that's Elliott now.
I mean, that makes me happy and sad because I can't get more Barkley now, but it makes me happy that the world got over how dumb they were.
Yeah.
Me and Zach have been out here pumping the Barkley stock for like 2 months, and he's finally back up to the 6. I think it's us personally that have changed it.
We're ready to short that Barkley stock and make the profit now.
Which was Adam, it's definitely the Kyler side. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we agree on that. I wouldn't keep Akers or Barkley. I'd get top dollar. They're running backs,
It's
so
a running
I don't
back.
hate that.
Yes.
What's redraft? No, I don't know. Fictional creature like the unicorn.
No. We don't like whatever. Like play what you like. This guy in my league.
This guy in my league offered me a 23-second third and fourth for David Bell and Justin Ross. Should I accept or counter with Tua and the picks or Eckler, Bell, Ross? Will he accept?
That made me so happy. That's 2 people so far that have jumped into this chat to talk about my terrible Ross offers.
Hey, Cal.
Hey, Cal. I'm going to go with my offer to you now.
54 watching and 9 freaking likes. I know, man. And everyone it's hate watching. Don't worry about it. They don't like us. But they
It's
watch.
like that scene from the Howard Stern movie where they're
We're thinking of a different scene.
yeah.
Well,
definitely,
honestly,
yeah.
if you dropped into a YouTube live stream every week, asked a question, then had to wait 3 hours for them to get to your freaking question, would you like it? Would you like
Yes.
it? I don't think so. You'd wait.
This
3
many
hours
people
and be
listen
like,
to
"I hate
Howard
that."
Stern because they want to hear what he's going to say next. What about the people that hate him? They listen to him for this long because they want to see what he's going to say next. So yeah. They just want to see how far behind we're going to be so they could yell at us.
Traded Sutton for 203 and a 23-second 10-man league. No, he didn't get enough value.
Yeah, I'd rather have Sutton, even in a 10-man league.
Oh yeah, in a 10-man. Yeah.
Well, I mean, like a 10-man league makes the 203 a little better.
It's fair. It's fair value. I think that's fair enough value.
I would rather have Sutton because I think that with Russell Wilson, you could see that uptick. And I
agree with you in that. Yes, I would rather have Sutton, but I also think it's a fair enough trade.
Yeah,
that I don't think I wouldn't feel bad about it.
I would take Sutton over a lot of the receivers in this class, and especially what I can get at the 203.
Mm-hmm. I again, yes, completely agree. But I think that's what you get for Sutton right now.
Alan says, once I started playing Dynasty, redraft got boring and lost its appeal.
It's a different game.
It's a different game. I find myself wishing I could do more redraft because it's fun. You can get to make your mistakes and clean.
I'm not as good at it.
It's a different skill set for sure.
Oh, for sure.
And like it's cool. Like I am in awe of people who are good at redraft because that is not me necessarily, and I don't spend enough time doing it because Dynasty consumes it. But it doesn't make redraft, like, I know you said, Alan, that you thought it was boring, but it's just different. Like it's not
It's whatever you find fun, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
I try and get the redraft itch out in best balls because I don't have time to manage it as well as Dynasty. But you can, best balls get some of that itch scratched. But like what you like, man. Tis TV. I literally have 723 first at this point. Well, just go and trade for all the best players.
Just
not really.
Log out of your league for a while.
Yep.
Because at this point, my league undervalues them. Ooh, nice. 112 and the 110 for a first each. That's nice. Should I go for 8? I mean, what else are you doing with your time? There's no points to be watching.
Of a year to pull a J Mike Invitational.
And then you do a J Mike. That's exactly that.
2021 was great. 2023 will be even better.
Yep.
Invite us to watch. We'll be in the.
And I forget, how do you do? How do you do it in that league? Yeah,
good.
He won
easily.
I can't get with IDP. It's like I have enough time keeping up with the 4 positions we've got, but I really think it's interesting. Tom Kissingberry. I mean, I devour the content. I just
the thing about IDP though is, and they're getting better with this, but they haven't standardized the scoring yet. That's the thing that
it's hard to do because the best players score less almost in some instances because they're not allowing things and the board doesn't go there.
But that's what I mean. Like standardized. Like that's the whole idea behind like Scott Fish doing the QB premium to even the.
Yep.
You can do that, but you got to get everybody on board and you got to get a good scoring system. And I know there are some sites that have what they think is going to be the answer, but it hasn't gone mainstream to everybody yet. So I think that's the big issue with IDP, not just the fact that you've got to learn an entire other side of the ball, but
as vanilla players like me, you got to know what you're rooting for.
Yeah.
Like I know instantly when I see a game what scoring points and what isn't because of the simple scoring system. And IDP's that's right. Jeremy, wow, I would keep them until you see. He would also keep them.
Seriously, if you can get that many 23 firsts, just put on your notifications for message board posts and everything else, turn it off and just don't.
I'm working on it. I've got 4 in a league and I'm working on continuing.
I think my record, the most I have right now in one league is 5. I would love to get more.
Andrew says he thinks Lance has Lamar Jackson upside in his second year. And I think he does too. I just think Lamar was a proven more capable passer already. If I was going to make an argument, but I'm honestly not. It's just that Lance is already valued there by a lot of people.
And that's the issue. And Peter, when you and I first started having this argument, he wasn't valued quite there.
Yeah.
And then
now that he is, it's like you're paying for that upside already.
He fell from like QB6 to QB9. No, he's like,
if I can get
like QB12.
If I can get Lamar for what you get Lance for, I just take Lamar. That's what we're saying.
Yes.
Love Lamar Jackson. Freak Stomp, 49er. You should give your 23 picks away, bruh. Maybe not. Josh Allen worth at 3 first-round picks.
No, in a one quarterback league, he's not.
Sorry.
3 firsts.
Gotta pay attention.
He's probably worth a first in this year's class, and I don't say that very often with quarterbacks.
He's probably worth.
But I think he's still worth an early first to me because he's a different. He's
one of those quarterbacks that you would be okay drafting in the 4th round of a startup in a 1 QB league. He's got that. Yeah,
him, Mahomes, Kyler, like those top 4, 5 quarterbacks are the only ones I'd really give a first for.
For sure. And we just got a whole bunch of new comments loaded in, so I got to scroll up. Hang on. We are behind. 10:52. It's currently 11:40. We're still an hour behind. Sean,
just 51 minutes. We're good.
Just 51. And a future first, if you have no QB, people act like, oh, he's actually answering the question. Thank you, Sean. That really helps. Maybe not
a lie. It's an hour and 10. We're way behind.
Yep.
Go, Peter.
Darryl Williams being valued as DLS, where Max 77 is way too low. It would be if it's redraft, but that's like the list I read off in the podcast today. They're not valuing his points there, which means he's a value if you're looking for points. I do. It's weird. I know.
That's cool.
Russ, I have started a scrapbook with all the Bosch complaints for 2022.
This year is going to be so good.
I will send you my DMs because I
GoFundMe.com. I will donate. Kickstarter, whatever. I will donate to that.
I think I was custom built to trigger John Bosch at this time of year because my DMs are not pretty. And rightly so. Rightly so. He's right. Gavin, DK, Higgins, Terry, Devonte, Juju, Claypool, Watson, Ridley, Palmer, Visca competing in a 12 team. Should I upgrade? Well, that's a solid list. They aren't. I mean, it's not Jefferson or Chase or Cooper Kupp. So there's upgrades to be made, to be had, but I mean, it's fine. I'm surprised you're still listening to Visca. That's about it. I think Josh Farmer's interesting this year, but like everyone below Devonte here is upside, and everyone above that is like top 24 expected with maybe top 12 upside. So I think it's solid.
I'm still trading DK.
Yeah, I don't mind trading DK. You could add him to some of that depth and get.
I know, Russ. You're waiting for the Drew Lock resurgence, but I'm trading DK.
Oh, I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't expect it. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be fun to watch.
That's fair. Daniel, have rookie draft this weekend and accumulated 6 picks. I'm sorry. In 2022, that feels like a bad thing. 2 of 6. Which player should I be targeting in the mid to late second, beyond? I mean, I'm hoping Wan'Dale Robinson falls to me there.
Hold on, pulling up ADP.
Jalen Tolbert, Brian
assuming
Robinson,
12-team Superflex, because that's everything I play.
Trey McBride.
206 in the Trade Addicts 10 leagues. Well, David Bell's at 205. Trey McBride's at 204 because of our premium. And then it's Rashad White, Damian Pierce, Matt Corral, Isaiah Spiller, John Mechie, Alec Pierce, Zamir White, that finishes up the second round to 305. Wan'Dale Robinson, Brian Robinson, Tyler Algier, Jalen Tolbert, Jelani Woods, Sam Howell, and then Justin Ross, 307.
Somewhere in there, you better take
that the order you would take them in.
No, that's the order of ADP of the Trade Addicts League.
I know that's what he's asking though. What would you? Because he has to make decisions.
Who would I want in there? If David Bell falls down there, yes. Damian Pierce, and Rashad White. Well, I don't necessarily love the running backs themselves.
I like White
There's
a lot.
Path for value increase in both of them. So if that's the game you want to play, I mean, I'd take a shot on Corral for him beating Sam Bradford. He'll definitely beat Sam Bradford at that point, but Sam Darnold as well. I love Isaiah Spiller. I'm here.
Your ADP is weird. White and McBride go early first for me, so I can't suggest them, but I do like Wan'Dale Robinson, Jalen Tolbert fall into that range. Trey McBride does fall into the end of the second per ADP in my experience as well. You said yours was tight end premium, so that makes sense.
I have that big
premium. But those are the 3 names that really tick off. But yeah, if Rashad White and Bell are falling into there, I have them early second. Sorry. The second round is a first round to me this year. I don't know why. So yeah, those I mentioned about 4 or 5 names there, so probably
somewhere at the back end of that, take Tyquan Thornton and take Romeo Doubs.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Just betting on the draft capital.
Based on draft capital and based on the fact that I've been watching him and he does some amazing things post catch. And Mac Jones is a quarterback who can throw the ball accurately enough to get a receiver to run after the catch. I know the Patriots, you don't want to hear this because it's Kendrick Bourne, but they don't have a guy who can do that right now. And Tyquan Thornton can.
You know, why are you doing that to Peter?
Yeah. It's going to be very interesting to see whether or not he pans out, but I'm willing to take a shot in the third on Tyquan Thornton and Romeo Doubs, who may actually be the better of the rookie receivers that ended up in Green Bay.
Okay. Would you guys trade Jared Goff for a 23 second?
In the Superflex?
Mm-hmm.
No.
No, just checking.
Why? I mean,
because I want to get Jared Goff off of Peter's team in the DLF league, so I could make this
He's
trade.
trying to get something for nothing again.
Oh, absolutely!
No.
I would definitely trade Jared Goff. No.
I would not. Just to let you know. Gavin, I would try to pair up 2 of these wide receivers for one more stud. Try getting Diggs if you're competing. Yeah, that's what I'd say. There are older upside players there. Use some of your depth with DK Metcalf.
Claypool and Watson for Diggs
plus. Yeah, I like that.
It's actually
Erickson
probably
left
Terry
PFF. Coincidence? Don't know anything bad.
Wow, this is the most
Mitchell or Hawkinson?
Ever. Mitchell or Hawkinson?
I was very proud of it.
Those are 2 very different things.
Is that Elijah Mitchell?
I assume so.
Yes, very, very different thing.
I mean, I'd probably take Mitchell over Hawkinson, I guess, because until I get shown otherwise, Hawkinson is in that group of tight ends that could be good and could be bad that week.
Right.
So give me Mitchell, who has the higher upside at running back.
I'm. Man,
so we're
close.
I think
I'm probably taking Hawkinson, but I'm not. There's not a lot of conviction there.
Yeah, to me, this is fine. Go whatever makes you happy, but don't fill a lineup right now with this if that's what you're asking.
Right.
Pausing my thinking. Eric, LOL about Mario's passing yards.
I might have slandered PFF for a minute there. That's my fault.
I'm fine with it. It's not like they do shit for us. I don't know them. But I know some of the people. I think I know some people that have written articles over there, and they're good people, but nothing to do with them. Kate Coop, what year was your favorite season of watching football? Don't know. I have a preference. Every year's been pretty fun. The year of Tim Tebow was certainly fun. Doing nothing but winning miracle comebacks. I really like watching Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs being 4th round or later drafted players just be better than their 1st round pick. If we're doing that,
I will say, personally. First of all, I loved that year where Tim Tebow did nothing but win miracle comebacks because I joined a fantasy football league with my brother, and someone recommended this league because they knew a guy, and we both joined, and weird shit went down to the point where they wouldn't give us our money back. So we're like, fine, we'll play this season and then we're done. And my brother and I got to the finals, and I'm like, you know what? Screw you, buddy. I picked Tim Tebow up off of the waiver wire and won the championship with Tim Tebow as my quarterback because he scored 30 points that week.
I mean, if we're talking storylines for a season, I really like David Johnson's end of the year. Come on, in Arizona. I love watching David Johnson beat the odds there as well.
It's all
lower drafted players for me, man.
Can I be a smug Patriots fan and say it was 2002? No, it was 2004. No, it was 2005. No, it was 2015. No, it was 2007. No, it was 2019. Hey, do we want to do this? We just should I hand you the ball?
What's really funny is because my real answer was going to be 2011, and not because they lost, but that was the year. And first of all, Randy Moss is just Randy freaking Moss. But watching him take 3 steps off the line of scrimmage and put his hand in the air when that cornerback was draped on him, and he's like, "No, I got this guy beat." Yeah. Was the greatest thing I've ever watched. And it was the full season where he's just like,
yeah, it
was so good. It was he's the reason I love the wide receivers I love. It is all Randy Moss's fault. But watching that was joy, pure joy. So that's why I mocked him a little bit, because my real answer was for the Patriots. Don't get me. My real answer is, man, I love defense. Watching the Legion of Boom, that Seattle defense, the year before they won, actually, like was I think their better year, right? But like that defense was so good. It made for really boring football, but it was so good to watch.
I love snow games. Talking about defensive struggle, I don't love watching nothing happen, but I like playing sport in this winter, and I love watching professionals do it in snow. Like, this is ridiculous, but look at them try and do it on ice skates. And I know there's something about the atmosphere. It's fun. It's fun. It's almost like backyard, but the best players in the world playing backyard football, and it's fun.
One of my clearest memories of like growing up and watching football was there was a game in Soldier Field that was just like fog, and you couldn't see the players, and like they'd snap the ball, and all of a sudden, you'd see like the ball, and then all of a sudden they'd like zoom in the end zone, and there would be a touchdown, and you have no idea what happened. That game was awesome.
Game after Thanksgiving. Or before Thanksgiving, whenever you guys play that dinner type vibe, but it's the best athletes in the world doing it, and it's nice. I feel more connected to it. I like it. But
look at that guy run like 6 miles an hour. I could do that sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I could possibly do that in the best of possible condition. Traded Renfro and Michi for Hollywood Brown. How'd I do?
Why would you trade an alpha away? That's actually a really good trade. I like getting Hollywood Brown for that.
Yeah, thank you. Nearly got kicked off. I'm just saying.
It was the 1988 NFL. It was the NFL. It was a playoff game between the Eagles and the Bears. That's what it was. The fog game. Yeah. I just looked it up. Oh, it was awesome.
Do you guys have different ways of approaching best ball? I play best ball for fun a little bit. I love being able to throw up a draft and my patrons get in there and take my money. They seem to enjoy that too. I don't play it hard enough to really have difference in strategies.
Turn around and run from best ball is what I tend to do.
It's fun.
I like having to not care about value. It's just I think this guy
is this like season
points. I don't care if this is weekly. I love the upside shots.
It's a time waster for me season long. Like if I'm bored and want to draft, so I don't start another dynasty league. But
yeah, you can do like a million.
If we're talking about, I like best ball dynasty leagues.
Well, that's what he's talking about.
I like that too.
Best ball versus set your lineup dynasty with deep benches, and the answer is with best ball, you're taking a lot more shots on deeper players who have a chance to have that week because that week matters.
Studs are worth less.
Yeah.
I would say I tend to lean like I don't particularly believe in consistency, so it doesn't change it as much for me. Like I still always drafted Deshaun Jacksons if they were available in regular dynasty, but yeah, I would say you're more inclined to it. Like that deep player who's not going to be fantasy viable for a season but can have a game is suddenly I get it.
Why you got to do Sammy Watkins like that? Why, Peter? Why?
I just play it like a redraft. To be honest, well, that's the thing. I'll draft Sammy Watkins in best ball, and it's fun to draft him. Like that first game every season.
Week 1, baby.
I won that week. Zach, I mauled on that trade hard, so hard. Just couldn't get past my love for David Bell.
Check your inbox, Peter.
Okay, read this question.
P2 the R. Hey, gentlemen, I'm super late, and
us too.
Even later now, but glad to watch what's left. Can ETN plus the 106 get the 101? Yeah,
I think absolutely. You may be overpaying there, but yeah,
I would probably take Breece Hall at that point. I would be good with that.
Oh no, I mean yes, I would take Breece Hall, but
you don't have to pay that.
You don't have to pay that
from the 106 to the 101.
That's what I'm saying.
That's what you said, but I did not interpret it that way for some reason.
Yeah.
Would you trade Jared Goff and a 23 first for Deontay Johnson and a 23 second in a super flex?
Right? You should absolutely accept that.
Me? Oh no, this is a question from the chat, obviously. I don't jump the line. Yeah, I don't like that, to be honest. I don't like giving up my 23 first when I have no reason to do it. Deontay isn't going to swing my team one way or the other significantly.
Yeah. It's not your 23 first.
No, it's the only one I got, though. I'm pretty sure. I
Yeah, you got it
normally
from
have
me.
to trade for someone else's, yeah. Yeah, I want to compete. Like, I need running backs. My wide receivers are good. Like, I don't think I need Deontay Johnson to stop 12 points, and I have no running backs. I don't think anyone's trading.
Fine.
I think I can get a running back for Jared Goff as easy as I can for Deontay, no?
Yeah. Let's see what I mean. I don't want to give Zeke or.
Plus, I've been told I shouldn't trade quarterbacks without getting a quarterback. The show I watched. Told me that.
Wasn't mine, was it? I wouldn't say that.
You've said it here.
No, I said you should have to pay more, but I never said don't do it.
I will think about it.
No, you won't.
Eric,
That's the thing. You won't. I don't know
tell me
why.
what I will and won't do.
It sounded confrontational, and I liked it.
Fair enough. Did some research. Good for you, Eric. The best of the best running backs since the 80s have fallen off the cliff by age 28 or 29, like barely roster worthy. Henry, Fournette, Eckler are all 27.
People are not what they were 30 years ago. People are barely human compared to what people were 30 years ago. You can't do that. That
in the
doesn't
NFL,
work.
I would say. I do think age more than touches matters a little bit because there are some things that you can't help with an aging body. We get older and joints grow weaker. But I think just betting on the age, like Dynasty players are already so adjusted for age, it's almost not worth paying attention to. Yeah, that's where I'm at. I don't think the age has signal to when they fall off. I think the age does have that signal more than their touches. But when you've got an individual player in front of you, you should always adjust for that individual player. The trend is only as good as your ability to read that player's relevance to it, because some do.
But value-wise,
increasingly they do.
Yeah, they're not going to gain value ever again. So if that's what you're worried about, then
in Dynasty they're already falling. So yeah, again, if Dynasty wasn't heavily adjusted for age already, we'd be all over it. But as it is, like Henry's already being drafted 12 spots below what we expect him to do in 20, like positional spots, not literal picks. But yeah, it's not, the age is relevant. So I think your research pulled up something that's worthy.
Yeah, it's like, and I can't remember the exact figure. I read it somewhere. It's something like 85% or 87% or 89% of backs that score. And again, this is great for podcasts that deals with numbers, but it's like backs who score 250 PPR points or more. Like most of that production comes before age 29. Like that's
running backs break out in their second year. Here's the thing: second contract running backs don't seem to drop off in performance. We do underrate running backs who are aged as well, because they actually repeat at the same, like within a percentage or two of wide receivers, and their career length in terms of producing top 12 and top 24 actually relatively similar. Now, wide receivers do have a longer career arc, especially in terms of value, but we kind of underrate running backs at this point. Having said that, yeah, again, Eric, age is a concern with running backs much more than anything else. But I really like thinking about it the way Adam Harstead put it up in that insurance article or whatever it was he wrote. It's more like they flip a coin at the start of the season. They're either going to stay healthy or they're not.
Yep.
And they're increasingly likely to come up tails on that coin flip. So, yeah, that's the way I prefer to think about it these days. And if any of them get injured and don't perform this year, that's why their value's tanking, because we'll be pretty much done with them.
I need to go to bed, fellas. So.
Oh shoot! Yeah. We just got like another hour worth of questions. I will try and shorten it. I
mean, that's cool, but I still got to go. So.
I understand.
To all of you.
Good night, Russ.
10 team Superflex tight end premium. Would you trade Javonte, Mac Jones, and a 23 first for Lamar?
Not all three of them. I would trade Mac in a first, but not Javonte Williams, Mac in a first.
I think that's fair. Not enough for me to argue about. Peter, you just did a show about undrafted free agents. That's normally true. Darrell Williams was just that kind of player. Just saying. Yeah, I like undrafted. Well, Yeah, again, I said it's not that I don't like Darrell Williams. You just got to accept that he's unlikely to develop that level of touch share where he's immediately top 12 relevant in fantasy football. And also, if he does, he's Austin Eckler, and people are always going to discount him because undrafted free agents, despite the fact that they repeat at the same rate once they actually get. Paul Cicero, yes, Russ, Clemson wide receivers forever. He's gone, so we don't mention that. Yes, trade them there if you want contending.
Yeah, and that's what you do with running backs anyway. Is if you're not competing, you trade them for young wide receivers and picks.
I like it here and on Peter's channel. You guys rule. I really appreciate that open. Thank you. John O2, hi. I wanted to say thanks for the streams and all the content. You no idea how much that means to us, man. Thanks.
Yeah, appreciate you, John.
Ronnie Rhodes, is 2023 going to be better than the 2021 rookie class? I think the hype's similar. I don't know ultimately, but I think that's where we're at in terms of value expectation. We're going to be disappointed if it's not. No.
You were saying that about 2021 too. We had that go around.
Yeah. And again, I can accept they're a good play because that's what happened in 2021. But at a certain point, the picks became worth more than they should be because we were trading all of them as if they were better than boats, and they weren't. They weren't. Well, actually, there weren't many misses, but you know what I mean. Someone took Terrence. Someone took Terrence Marshall, man. You know what I mean.
I don't have any idea what you mean. That was not me.
Fair enough. Robert, 10-team Superflex, Miles Sanders plus Ridley for AJ Dillon and a 23 third. Yeah, I guess I'm still on the Dillon side here. Sanders is much more likely to score points. But
it's the value. Ridley is the conundrum, and I'm still treating him like he doesn't like he retired.
Me too.
Yeah, and so it's Dillon. Like it is, but yeah.
That's what I'm doing. Like I would rather overpay if you return.
It's so hard. And Robert asked that. He said, "Is there any chance that Ridley comes back and is still a wide receiver one?" Yes, there is a chance. It's not a non-zero proposition, but I am treating it as I don't know, and so I'm gonna go get players that I do know are going to play.
I treat him like Andrew Luck. I love the player. Really love what the player is capable of. I think he retired, and I hope he comes back one day.
Yeah. I hope Ridley comes back, and I hope he's great. Like, I think him being suspended for an entire year over gambling on
which
DFS
would piss me off a little bit.
Whatever. Yeah, like that's a stupid thing, but Roger Goodell does whatever he wants. So
that CJ2K season is up there. That was a good one. Yeah. Favorite season question from an hour ago. Yeah, appreciate that, Cal. Thanks for the context there.
We're almost to that question, Cal. So
Kurt Warner's first season with the Rams. That was a good one.
I'm so sick of hearing about him bagging groceries, though.
It's Dynasty Best Ball, so I can join a bunch of leagues and not worry about the lineups. Yeah, that's how I use it. It's fun. I like drafting. I like thinking about this stuff. Yeah. David Bell plus Hunt for a 24 third, or Christian Watson and Ramondre.
I'd rather have David
Bell and Hunt.
I'd rather have David Bell than Christian Watson.
Age convo. It's coming for all of us. He just left us. Oh, wow. Oh, we really did catch up pretty quick there. I'm just saying. And Joe, how you doing? And Dynasty Best Ball, draft Sammy Watkins or Darrell Williams. Serious question. I'm in round 25 of a startup. Depends how I built the team. Probably Darrell Williams. Though.
Yeah, I'd take Darrell Williams. Yep. Which is wild because Sammy Watkins was like the wide receiver one coming out in that class. That's so wild.
I can't get your podcast out of my head talking about this being 2016. I'm like, man, all those missed. You know what I mean? Like, it might all be for nothing.
Yeah.
Is Matt Corral the QB to own for the Panthers if you need a QB?
I mean, it's probably going to be Baker Mayfield or Garoppolo. Honestly,
I think the one that I'm moving forward probably isn't there yet.
I think that they trade for Garoppolo or Baker Mayfield. So
I can see that. Yeah. I think Garoppolo's a sneaky trade target if you're struggling for quarterbacks in Superflex because I think he'll end up somewhere, or maybe Lance struggles.
Yeah.
I mean, one way or the other, I think he has more value from here on. But, I thought that about Gardner Minshew. So.
And that may end up being the thing where we haven't heard yet what the Watson suspension is going to be. And I think Watson will be suspended. And you could see something where, because Baker Mayfield is not going to play for Cleveland, you could see something where there's a three-way trade where Baker goes to Carolina, Garoppolo comes to Cleveland, and somebody eats some of that contract, and then something goes to San Francisco and everybody's happy. Like that sort of thing could happen. It would be interesting.
Good night, Zach. Thanks for checking out the show.
Yeah, good night.
We are having a great evening. This is always the best evening of my week, for one reason or another. And Cal says hello to open 24
hours. Every time I see that, it reminds me of the Stephen Wright joke where he says he pulls up in front of this convenience store and his friend is locking up the door. And he's like, "What are you doing?" It's like, "I thought you guys were open 24 hours. And his friend says, "Yeah, but not in a row."
That's a pretty good one. Yeah, I think we're all caught up.
I think we're shutting it down. Look at that. Ronnie Rhodes says, "Good night, boys." I say, "Thanks, Ronnie." Look over there.
Really Cal got it. Everyone. See you next week.